Hello, everyone, and welcome to the USS Spring 2026 Division 1 Grand Finals between the Oxford Omnics and Imperial College London, or Winston is found by a police helicopter if you want to use their USS name. And today I am joined by two members of Sheffield. I'm joined by Bakey Boy and Jane Skewer. How are you guys this evening?
All right, boss. Thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm excited to see how this game will go, how these teams will roll out. Looking at the teams, though, both of them, you've probably heard of them both. You know, they're both pretty big names within the UK collegiate scene. I think we'd all agree. Oxford, serial finalists, I'd say, always getting to the finals or being one of the people you expect to at least compete for the finals. But it feels like they always fall a little bit short. We saw that last season in both collegiate leagues. They've got 4-3'd in both games against Strathclyde last season, but now their opponent's a little bit different. They actually beat Strathclyde on their way here. So, what do you think about Oxford's chances in this grand final? We'll start with you, Bakey Boy.
Well, I think me and James, we have both played both of these teams, starting off with, so we do know them both quite well. Oxford less so. ICL, we've definitely played more. But Oxford, when we played them, they were scary. They were playing dumb things, and it is hard. You know, a lot of the time when teams are running out on things that are a little bit more off meta, like Rene pulled out the hog against us, was on the horse for a little bit. It gets quite scary because you don't exactly know what to do. Whereas when teams against like ICL who play a bit more closer to the meta, you know, obviously on that Vendetta quite a bit. Yeah, you're playing the Ram instead of the Zarya, but it's still closer to the meta than whipping out a hog. So it is a bit harder to wrap your head around. But to be honest, I think if there's any team that will figure it out, it might be ICL.
Yeah, I mean, ICL, they've looked good throughout the playoffs. They have had a couple close scrapes. They won 3-2 against Donuts, and then they got, I think it was a 3-1 win against Strathclyde, if I remember correctly.
3-0 clean sweep, I'm pretty
Was
sure.
that 3-0?
Both times, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty confident entry into the grand finals, I would say. But we'll move to you, James Skewer. What do you think about ICL's chances? We heard from Big Boy about Oxford, but what do you think about ICL?
I think, both teams, I think ICL, just as much as Oxford, they have a really good chance here. I think, what they play is really good right now. The Malga, the Diva. I think they're very comfortable in it. And if they can play it well, it's going to be so hard for Oxford to deal with that. Obviously, Oxford are a great team in their own right and have all the abilities to be able to deal with it. But I do think that ICL, they're a very strong team and they have, very good chance here.
I mean, yeah, you said they like playing the Malga, and, well, Rene actually pulled out the Roadhog in the grand finals last season, if I remember correctly, and he was kind of going 1v9 mode on it against Strathclyde, so maybe the Malga might be good against the Roadhog, just to try counter that out. But what do you guys think the score will be? So I'll start with mine. I think it'll probably be, maybe I'm a little bit biased towards Oxford because I've seen them a little bit more, but I'm thinking it might be like a 4-1 kind of scoreline to Oxford. Maybe I'm a bit way off, but we'll start with you, Big Boy. What do you think?
I honestly think this could go all the way. I think we might see a 7-match slugfest. I think it is just going to be going band for band. Techie little bit of a tennis theory going on, I think. But I think it's going to be 4-3 to ICL.
I think I'm going to say the same as Bakey. I don't know if, I haven't watched Oxford much. I don't know much about them compared to ICL. And I don't know if it's my delusion and just bias towards, the people I know better. But I want to see a map 7. And I think ICL will take it.
So, well, you're both going 4-3 ICL.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look stupid if ICL win 4-3, because you both have went for the same one. I've said 4-1 Oxford, so we'll get them.
If we get it wrong, though, then,
Yeah, if you just get it wrong, I'll look like a genius, don't I? I'm a big bloody suit and blazer or whatever. But
I was in London the other day, and I was talking to Power about how he felt about this. I met him in the pub, and he seemed quite confident. I think he thinks they might win this, so that's influenced my opinion.
ICL, they do have a few strong players, of course. Power on the tank. I mean, he plays, like you said, James Q. He plays two pretty strong. I wouldn't call Maga strong at one, but I wouldn't call him weak. He's strong in the right environment, definitely. But Diva, of course, Diva is, the Diva is broken. It's a banner in every single one of my games personally. Diva is absolutely ridiculous. But in terms of comps, so Bakey Boy, regarding Oxford, you just think they'll come out on, Hog Zarya? Is that like all you think we'll see from them, or they'll try and mix it up a little bit?
Rene is such a flexible guy that it's like Oxford can play a lot of these things. They obviously can play the meta as well, because me and James have played against it. We've seen it. So they like to adapt in response to whatever stuff ICL is probably going to play. So if they run out on the Malga, Oxford probably do have the tools in the cupboard to then switch it up and try and put up a stronger fight, but it's quite hard to tell what they're going to roll out on, because with Oxford, to be honest, you don't really ever know.
I mean, yeah, they can be a bit of a wild card. Is it kind of the same for ICL? Same story about ICL, James Q, or do you think it's a little bit more obvious what they're going to go for?
I think ICL are a bit more sort of like set in their comps. I think they, they do have a bit more they're a bit more inflexible, sort of. You don't really see them too much off of those comfort heroes, and they do have like a stat selection. But it is still, they are like quite a flexible team where they can play a wide variety of comps. It's like to a very good standard. So it's like I don't think they'll be as flexible, but they'll still be able to like change up the comps and just show more sort of like ideas.
Yeah, I mean, flexibility can be kind of like the name of the game at the end of the day in a grand final because of hero bans, the amount of things that can get banned. But we will get to see their flexibility very, very soon, because I do believe we are going to be heading to the casters in just a moment. But any final words for the teams before we hand off at the moment?
I guess if any of them are in here, good luck. You guys got this put on a good show for us.
Map 7, please.
Map 7, please.
Play well in Map 7. That seems to be the moral of the story. So good luck to both teams, and we will see you all in a little bit. Goodbye for now.
Thank you to our desk. And we've got a fairly familiar face coming back to us today. We've got me and Edgar on the on the cast. And my word, Map 7, says the desk. We'll see soon how that goes, and the time for deliberating about how this is going to go is going to come down soon. But Edgar, how are you thinking about this game?
I'm thinking that I'm quite hype. After being put in the cage for so long, they finally let me out just to do the finals. It's crazy what nepotism can get you nowadays. But no, Oxford ICL, obviously two fantastic teams, very much earning their way to be here. Historically have been rather dominant, but never quite dominant enough, right? I think, as we were saying earlier, right, always the cuck, never the cucky in the case of Oxford, right? They're always so close to greatness, but they're not quite getting all the way there. This is their final, I say final opportunity. I think realistically, yeah, one of their final opportunities. I think they're going to lose a lot of their stronger pieces this year. So this is kind of the opportunity for them to really make a statement, win a big title. But same for ICL as well. And what a way to steal that away. ICL and Oxford, they are so hotly contested, but I would consider it an upset win if ICL is able to make a significant dent in the armor of Oxford.
Yeah, I believe so. Both teams coming in 3rd and 4th in Division 1, but of course making it through to the finals. And of course, we know these rosters all too well from seeing them, but we'll give you a reminder anyway. Big Bog, or Egg Road Man 87 on DPS alongside Sergeant Squirts. Renee and Finn and Mudkip round out the team for Oxford. For ICL, we've got One Tom and Eloy on DPS. Power on tank, and Carl and Geode on the support line. And a lot of names here that will be very familiar to everyone watching at home, I'm sure.
In terms of what I'm most interested in, I mean, there's the obvious, right? Of everything. I guess if we had to put it like that, then every single individual role matchup is going to be particularly interesting to see. In DPS, you have to give the edge to Oxford in terms of DPS, right? Egro Man and Sergeant Squad have been around a while. Oxford's game plan for the longest time was essentially building around Egro Man. Building around the hit scan, especially having taken to Emre like a fish to water. That's always going to be a useful little thing to have in your back pocket. For ICL, I think they have one of the few tank players that can match up to Renee. Renee, of course, one of the best tanks that we've seen, has been dominant for so many years, but Power's kind of come out of nowhere suddenly, and it's like, okay, we have another S-tier tank player vying for competition as well. One of the few players that can actually outclass him. Imperial, I mean, I'm going to slightly, and I mean very, very slightly, give the support edge over to ICL. Especially, I think it's mostly Geode. I think Geode's one of the most fantastic Lucio players that we've seen. That kind of leadership, the ability to ult track, the ability to command the team is going to be a very useful thing that Geode can provide. But it's not like Finn and Mudkip are slouches either, right? So in essence, we've got, Oxford with a slight DPS edge, maybe ICL with a slight tank edge, and then essentially even support lineups. It's gonna go crazy, regardless of what we think preliminarily.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we've been deliberating about these teams, our teams have been deliberating about where we want to go. And first pick goes to Oxford, having come through the upper bracket, and they decide to go to Busan to start off with.
I mean, take your pick of the control maps, right? Busan, you have the opportunity to play quite a lot of things. I think this is going to favor the Diva quite heavily. The Malga will struggle a little bit, not necessarily on mecha base, but if you get to some of those more high ground oriented sub points, then yeah, Malga can just sort of get surrounded and shot at from all angles, which is far from ideal. Also, longer sight lines on some of these maps will enable some hit scan play. And of course, that always opens up the road for EdgarTheRuiner to just dominate the lobby. We also have our bans in, which we should be looking at in just a moment. Also gives us a little bit of an insight as to where these teams are going to be going and what their game plan is. Oxford, kill this character immediately, they say.
Yeah.
The one Vendetta gone. And from what I know of ICL, this sort of informs that quite well. It's Wantom, if I'm familiar, that's been picking up a lot of the Vendetta and has been seeing a great amount of success with it. Obviously, there's all the strategy of, oh, well, you know, we space out our bans or choose certain maps, but you can also just kill a character outright for one map, and already, I'd say this gives Oxford a distinct advantage here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to take the advantage of coming in as the upper bracket team as much as you can, right? We've seen Wonton play this Vendetta not only in University, but in Face It as well. It's well known throughout the circuit, so taking it out map 1, goodbye. We're going to make sure that we get here. And as Bakey Boy said on the desk, you know, tennis theory is definitely something that could come into play. And taking that first map, if we're following tennis theory, means you end up winning. But as we go to Korea to start off here on Busan, I can't wait to get into this Division 1 Grand Finals.
We got a crazy budget upgrade, guys. Don't even worry about it. We're taking the players and teams to Korea now. It's absolutely fantastic. This is going to be the taste of the rest of the series, and it's going to be interesting to see what the teams can roll out with. I think the general pred is slightly in the favor of Oxford. But again, this is one of the matchups. You know, for so many past seasons, there wasn't really any doubt as to who would win, even if things were a bit close. Here, there really is. I'm not comfortable calling this 4-0, 4-1, 4-3, anything, right? Essentially, the players are the only ones in control of their fate, so we're going to see them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we get underway with Wonton sticking on the Symmetra after the TP, so that's going to stick around for a little while. Power, Rene should match up fairly well into this. It is probably the easier map for them so far, but down a little bit low, just trying to poke out here, but it's going to be Oxford in control of the point area at the very least.
Imperial have to wait. They have to wait very patiently. The Malga is such an explosive character. You can feast and you can famine. A little bit of a side fight from LOI, and it ends up being Power taking positioning on the objective, perhaps scaring Oxford back a bit.
Yeah, you can see Sergeant Squirts just trying to lock it down with that Maywall, maybe trying to counter Power as well, but forces a cryo. Can be a little bit difficult, but there's the first pick of this Grand Finals, and it falls to Rene onto Eloy. The rest of the team is going to have to back this up big time now. Power is in control of the objective, and the same can be said for ICL, and it burns down Rene as well. Looks like ICL are going to take the first advantage here, despite having lost the player first in this matchup.
Yeah, that they have, and they've had control of the point as well. Kiriko's going to TP back in, so Power's going to be kept nice and healthy. Sergeant Squad taken out later on into that fight. Imperial just kind of establishing dominance on the objective. Yes, the Orisa can, in theory, survive and outlast the Malga, but realistically, if you're stuck into a straight-up shooting match, it's just not going to happen, and that was all off the back of a nice pick onto LOI. You can feel so invincible on the Emre. You are the truly glass cannoniest character that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see how much both Kirikos have been doing with the fact that both Kitsunes come into being about the same time. Big Bog, though, does have this override protocol and decides to use it. Will it be to full effect here? We will see. But Wonton taking down Sergeant Squirts means that Big Bog just has to hide around the corner and really can't take effect with this. They're holding this down really well, our ICL.
can't take much effect with it. Generally just slams it into the face of Malgrim. All the people that can take a beating, that guy is one of them. We do see the attempted engage with the sound barrier from Geode. Renee tries to clap back with the Terror Surge, gets taken out in the process of it. Tank presence still good for ICL. Tank presence means everything in terms of just objective control and map winning potential.
Yeah, and 3 ults coming into this next fight, which will be the last one, especially with Finn going down late. Luckily is going to get that respawn wave with Sergeant Squirts, but they have to get good use out of this beaten Blizzard if they're going to be back in here. But we're going to listen in with ICL on this, what could be final fight.
Kill her, kill her, kill her.
Stay already.
Poke him, help him.
I know.
I'm dead.
Search. Okay, we can do this. Just trade if you can.
Touch point. Stay point.
You're on to Surge now as well.
Well, I mean, they managed to get down Rene early with Eloy's override protocol, but they leave nothing in the tank, and somehow Oxford are able to flip it back into their direction. And my word, the fact that they were able to do that looks more and more unlikely with Rene being the first pick.
That and Finn's also going to be charging up to a Kitsune Rush, so essentially you use this one for tempo. If you're on it with the ult tracking, perhaps at this point you would estimate that Carl has his, but there's no reason not to try and play aggressively and go for something here, right? So it's going to be at minimum Finn's Kitsune Rush to open things up, but Carl actually charging slower and slower up to ICL. They're actually utilizing their point advantage reasonably well, not so much their player advantage though, because they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, but losing Rene is going to be huge for this fight. They do decide to invest this Kitsune Rush, but that's allowed Carl time to build up his own, and this is looking more and more dire for Oxford. Points still in their control, and Sergeant Squirts is doing absolutely the most to try and keep it that way. Manages to get the Blizzard off, but is there going to be anyone to be able to capitalize off of it? Big Bog going down before that overclock can be charged, and looks like the rest of the team is going to filter in, but it might just be too little too late.
Yeah, it will be. Renee, even with the Sniper Elite Spear and Geode with the 1 HP beat, very close to an Ajax in the first possible point, which would be a, biblical way to start a series, right? Renee is dying a lot. And I don't say that to indict Renee necessarily, but like, the proof is in the pudding. Renee just gets run over, right? You are not as survivable as you may think on Orisa, despite the cooldowns, despite everything that you have. Of course, with the Lucio Kiri, your healing is going to be good and consistent, but not perhaps substantial, right? And if you can just keep forcing these head-on brawls for Imperial College, that's going to work for him. Renee can hold it there for a second, but really Renee wants to not take as much of the attention as possible, only enough so that the rest of Oxford can try and find their own angles.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can force criticals through Fortify, and that's been a thing for a little while now, but obviously it's still not helping their case, and already going down so low in this first fight. Big Bog has decided to switch over to the Sojourn, maybe a little bit more comfortability here, but the fact that they were able to get Big Bog down 2% before OC in that last fight was absolutely monumental for them. And look at yeah, they can just run through them. It's so difficult for Rene to stay in one place, and they're just able to walk through, follow where Rene's going, and take him down.
In theory, Sojourn was always the answer to something like a Malga or an Orisa, right? You charge up rail so consistently, able to get lots of damage, lots of pick potential on the enemy. But Emre, if it's about dealing damage, it's about getting picks, does both those things better. The only thing you really need Sojourn for is the mobility. But I think that with the Lucio, you're generally fine here. So I do think that LOI has the better pick here. Now Oxford can try some aggression of their own. They do speed through the choke. Once they're on the other side, though, they're a little lost. Good boot from Geode, but you flew a little too close to the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. Mudkip does go down in turn, but you can see Finn once again doing absolutely everything to keep Rene alive, and that's meaning that Kitsune is there almost immediately in pretty much every other fight, even though that fight seemed like it didn't last too long initially. 40% does go to ICL, but they're going to be forced back to spawn.
I do rate that Renee has the shield now. I genuinely think that's going to make more of an impact than it may seem. It's able to circumvent the lifesteal and a lot of the aggression from Imperial. I talk about aggression as they just pop the wall on the high ground and take all of that space for free.
Yeah, but the Blizzard is there, and a good stun means that they can get a bit aggressive here. Rene down so low though, having to play around this shield like his life depends on it, and that is exactly because it does. Pops the Terror Surge for a bit more survivability, and that dooms Eloy. Carl goes down to Big Bog as well, and it looks like Oxford are turning the corner at least a little bit.
Imperial is scaring Oxford though. In every single fight, that like you can see how terrified Rene is. It's a Terror Surge and a Blizzard investing compared to Imperial, who just used the wall. So the ult economy still in their favor. They don't have as much of a dominant lead as they did in the last point to necessarily make that work, but still going to be fine for them. Power's taking so much poke before the fight. Obviously, it sounds obvious, but on Mauga especially, you need all of your HP before you can think about making a play. So I'm just going to force to Ice Block in a pretty precarious position as ult's now being exchanged in the mid-fight.
That beat as well from Geode only caught onto the backline. The rest of the team don't have it, and eventually that pays for Big Bog. 2 found in this fight with that overclock expiring, but doesn't need it anymore. The rest of the team is going to fall, and with Carl both support ults investing, it's looking a little dire on this point for ICL.
They got impatient. They really did, right? I understand Power's taking so much aggro, so much damage, but you have to wait that out. You can't just fight through it. And eventually, Wantom, not getting the healing required, gets the head taken off by Egg Roadman. There's now only one place, the Valley of Death, that Imperial can go.
Yeah, it's more of a, you're stuck in here with us in that cage fight with Elo trying to rain down from the heavens, but it's just too late. And 1-1 Oxford, the momentum back into their favor as they look to start off this grand finals with a win on their first map pick.
Just cleaner execution from Oxford and slightly sloppier execution from Imperial as well. Imperial can kind of force their frontline. They can force the frontline brawls, both with overwhelming damage from the Emre and the close range damage of the Simbeam. That and, you know, the obvious Mauga, right? For Oxford, they're still brawly, don't get me wrong, they have a May and Orisa for Christ's sake, but they are content to absorb a little bit of punishment before giving it back, right? And that's exactly what Oxford were doing. And actually, Oxford were themselves...
22-3 as well.
What a lunatic. I will note, also, Oxford were doing some more proactive things in that last... they were doing some more proactive things in that last map as well. So, provided they can keep that up here, things should be good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They look to find some more poke, and Elo goes down low, same with Wantom, so the DPS won't be able to engage with this overrun from
Where
Power,
are you going?
and that spells doom. Just trying to engage, maybe just... They're a bit fed up, having lost momentum, trying to turn it back into their favor, no matter what, it just doesn't happen for them.
It goes without saying, but you can only make a crazy engage like that when there's some kind of trigger, right? And I just didn't see it. Power charges headfirst into the enemy team, not with a distinct cooldown advantage, not with a numbers advantage, not with an angles advantage, HP advantage, anything. And if you do that, well, you've just inted yourself into the enemy front line, and you die. Big play there, and sloppy execution as well. Wantom drops a bit too early, and it's only for a split second, but gets punished for it regardless.
Yeah, Mudkip is exchanged. Power just using that overrun to try and reinvest some of this damage, but Big Bog taking down Carl should spell the end for Power. Still trying to engage forwards, but it's a beautiful May wall from Sergeant Squirts, and I have to say these May walls have been doing a lot for them.
Because now we have Power swinging from the chandelier. What's
true.
worse than Mauga is a flying Mauga, and ICL have actually taken control of the point. It's going to be short-lived, however. We're going to be getting stronger perks online to be able to deal with Power effectively. Not just the shield, but now we have the freeze as well. That is unironically going to be massive because now Power can't go for these. Yeah, because now Power can't go for these easy engages, right? We're going to listen in to the comms now, see how the teams would like to approach this next fight.
Roll there. That's fine.
I'm close to give
Sorry,
Sinner.
sorry.
I'm good.
Great help.
Wait, we have beam.
Yeah.
Happy.
Bring it through.
Bring it.
Keep it through. Mela.
Alright.
I want to run. Go back fast, take everything. They use 3.
Yeah, they
still have
four.
McCrees.
They still have McCrees.
Yeah,
They still have
McCrees.
McCrees. You gotta like fast. You know, no way.
I'm gonna keep Tune first.
Oh no, just put me in.
I think go close, honestly,
Come
go
left side,
close.
come left side, yeah.
Well, you heard there, Kitsune and Cage fight still in the back pocket for ICL, but it feels like Oxford have just been surviving on the ropes, waiting for the times that those perks come online, and now they do seem to be thriving. Wonton deciding to go to the point early, and they're going to try and lock down this space with the Kitsune rush, force Oxford to fight back into them. They do have a lot of control here, especially with the car wash set up immediately, but only 30% for them. They're going to have to hold out the entire rest of the match from here.
Yeah, beautiful discipline for Oxford, right? They recognize they have so much stock in the objective, they can just wait patiently. This time, however, the engage is pretty good. Imperial take the time to set up their angles. They do have the cage. We have a little bit of a Looney Tune situation going on here with some flying tanks, but Renee has been felled low. Maybe not for the kill, but at least low enough to be forced away effectively. Still, some very peculiar trades happening here. Losing LOI is a massive deal. That's a huge May wall onto power as well.
Yeah, and Wonton going down to Renee's Spear is going to be a big issue for them going forwards. Now, without the TPs, they can now push forwards onto the objective. They force power away, but Eloy comes back at just the right time to punish Mudkip on the high ground. Now with 72%, Oxford, got to be careful that it doesn't go back into the hands of ICL, but that Blizzard is absolutely phenomenal. Punish onto power isn't there, though. The Terror Surge, you saw it was going to happen eventually, does go down, but not without squishing Sergeant Squirts. Wonton back in as well, just trying to stay alive, but no, the Spear is going to spell doom, and they're going to try and get back to the objective as soon as possible to try and stop a overtime recontest here.
Yeah, it's all about stall now. It's all about getting onto whatever you can. Power's going to go over to the Wrecking Ball. Should have a couple of relatively free opportunities to touch in and out of the objective, but we see an early overclock, and Egg Road Man does it again.
Yeah, it's the star player. I mean, you're never worried when you've got an OC in the back pocket in these clutch moments. Finds a second on Carl as well. Eloy trying to do what she can with that override protocol, but at the end of the day, not to be. Power down low on the Wrecking Ball, eventually dealt with. And it is gonna fall to Oxford. They seemed like they were backed up, seemed like maybe it wasn't gonna go in their favor, but the perks came online, and as soon as they did, they were able to flip the script and take this first map of Busan. It's 1-2.
Yeah, the perks were good, and I did point them out, but also just execution in general from Oxford got a lot cleaner as that went on. I was a doubter of the... I was a bit of a doubter of the Sojourn pick. I do still maintain that I think that Emre in this climate is the better pick, just in terms of numbers, just like sheer overwhelming damage. You can delete anything from the game in a manner that can't quite do. Might have cut out for a second, might be back now, not entirely sure. But that happens the best. But yeah, Emre could delete things from the game like Sojourn can't effectively. But comfort means a lot, and also having the overclock in your back pocket when you have, when you're just an aimer like Egg Road Man is going to be fantastic for you as well. So that seemed to work out more effectively. Plus some weird impatience from ICL. It was a lot more prevalent on the second point. They did clean it up a lot on third point, and that was just quite close. Some of the different, I suppose, mechanical differences that came online to give Oxford the edge there. Executionally, Imperial ironed out their kings, but they just started, like, we saw like the duality of it. At the start of second, we saw Imperial with measured aggression, which essentially they took their time, forced Oxford into a bad position on the low ground, then they surrounded them, and then they collapsed, and then because they knew they had that advantage, they just kept going. There was nothing Oxford could do to stop them. You compare that to the start of third, where we have an engage, which is Power just single-handedly running into the enemy team. Okay, cool. Like, I don't fully know what you expected to happen there, my guy.
Yeah, it felt like without even switching off or onto anything else, it was just them going, we're gonna throw something at the wall and see what sticks. You know, we're hoping for a miracle play with that overrun in, maybe find someone caught off guard by it, but Oxford had the time to readjust, and they had the ability to make them pay for it. We saw Egg Road Man 22-3 going into the third objective, and still pays the toll, and I mean, we've seen comfortability now pay in the top level of the esport. You know, we see a couple of teams taking out partners with stuff that's run that's not meta. So in the eventuality that you're doing it here, where it's always happened that meta hasn't been played in UK University esports, you're able to take them through, and I mean, the comfortability just means everything for them.
It really does, and obviously they'll be feeling pretty good going into the next one. Tennis Theory alive and well, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you are stuck with us for another 6 maps now. I would not wish that upon my worst end. Another 1,000 Egg and Avalanche casts. Hybrid going to be coming up next. Now, I think this is a little... I think that Oxford, they did a decent play off the rip by banning the Vendetta, because they don't want to face ICL on the Vendetta. That's maybe not inclined to say they're bread and butter. It's not like they suck. It's not like they're horrible if they're not able to play that, but that would be the strength that they like to play into, right? Control enables it quite well. Of course, it's not going to be a ton to be done when we get to, say, something like Flashpoint or Push. But Hybrid, you can struggle a little bit with that aggression. So even if Imperial, they get to pick their Vendetta now, it's not going to be quite as effective. Though, in fairness, mode order for this finals is quite flexible. Other than Control, any of these upcoming modes can be selected. So, we actually got Shambali. Really, Imperial? What are you thinking here?
I mean, the other thing is it takes Gibraltar out of the map pool, which I'd say in terms of flexibility and what they want to play does.
I mean, and
favor
Havana, right?
Oxford. And Havana, you've got the long sight lines. It feels like the middle ground here is Shambali Monastery, and taking those two off the table, I feel like it's a good thing. But the thing is, at the moment, with the Malga still on the table, if you still want to play it on Shambali Monastery, you kind of have to ban a tank here off of Rene, because in those situations, if you don't ban a tank here, if you don't protect ban your Malga, it probably goes off the table at the hands of Oxford.
Don't underestimate the flexibility of these teams either, right? They have their styles, but it's not like they can't play a couple of different styles. Imperial will favor the Vendetta, but they will get off of it if they absolutely have to. Whether that means that they can obviously run the Diva, they can run the Malga. I believe Power can play Hazard to a pretty high level as well. Would be surprised if we see that today, but hey, this is University of Watch after all. It's not quite piss low, but something akin to that. Yeah, okay, yeah. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing, guys?
If anyone hasn't been watching our grand finals so far, we are having.
We promise these are good players. We promise, guys. Don't ask why they're banning Weaver and Hog. ICL had first ban Weaver.
This isn't what's been picked. This isn't what's been picked.
Oh no! Because I was gonna say Weaver protect ban. They don't need to protect their Vendetta. So they banned Junkrat. It's scary, I know. They also banned Roadhog. Scary, I know. I think, you know what? My theory is that Oxford are doing that like to Rene. Like they're telling Rene, like, no, you're not allowed to play Roadhog. Okay, what's actually happening here?
I think this Mei is sticking. I think this Mei is actually banned. We've been trolled so far, but the Mei is real.
Right,
and
okay.
You can see the Mei walls were hindering them, especially on second point. You saw when they invested both support ults, the Mei wall stopped anyone bar the two supports from getting Geodes beat, which was a bit of an issue, and Oxford decided to ban the Diva.
Bans now. Okay, we can actually do analysis. God, my producer is such a chud. Yeah, no, the Mei, I do agree, it was causing Power some distinct problems. In terms of Power's terrible, or in terms of just, let's be honest, playing tank in general, Mei getting up to that major perk where you can free someone outright is a horrible time, especially if you're a Diva or a Malga, two of the most susceptible tanks to that. And then the ban of the Diva from Oxford makes sense. Rene has a Diva in his back pocket, but like if you're trying to duel that out with Power, it's a little bit Hydrogen Bomb Coughing Baby-esque. So it's not a matchup that you want to take.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of what you want to go with here, taking them off the Diva, even means that, yeah, you are playing Mauga on Shambali, or you're forcing something that we're not known for quite as much. And I like this ban a lot, even though you're taking it away from Renee. I feel like it is more impactful on the other side.
Yeah, just waiting to get into the just waiting to get into the matchup now. I think we're having a little bit of an issue loading in, but we should be with you as soon as humanly possible. Of course, been a very substantial season. USS. The fact that USS is like alive and running still is something which both one scares me, but number two also brings me some amount of joy, because it's like, wait a minute, students could have just done this themselves like the whole time. As someone who's not a student anymore and doesn't have to like bear that kind of responsibility, shout out you guys, because I could not be asked, like, remotely.
Yeah, well, absolutely, we are alive and kicking, and heading into the summer as well, there's some things that are on the horizon that you guys are going to absolutely love looking out for, but we should be going in shortly, and I believe when we do go in, we're going to have a listen in with Oxford and see how their fight planning goes, as they should be on the attacking side.
Or just see how like horribly locked out they are. That is also a distinct possibility. It's odd. Some teams thrive on it, right? Some teams are hard cobbing, hard pairing. Some teams just go in with a pretty calm, chilled out vibe. So some teams come in with a fairly chilled out, like calm sort of vibe, and that's going to be the thing that works for them. As they end up preparing the defenses, we're actually going to be listening into ICL, see what they're planning from the outset. Maybe we can get a bit of insight into their game plan here and how they can take down Oxford in map 2.
I really like tree frogs. I didn't expect anyone to ask.
Phone right.
Crazy.
You know when you play games, you can't sleep.
What are we doing attack? What are we doing attack?
I'm pushing cart and trying to play the Mauga.
I think we play like flexible.
It's
Yeah,
standard.
we should push
I mean,
cart.
Jack's gonna play right side of bomb, right?
Play opportunities.
Yeah, I'm planning on going over right.
Okay.
Does
It's
Ben-
quite
does
hard.
Benefit
It's
want
quite
to go
hard to
with?
heal me.
Does Benefit want to go with like with the Mario or something?
Vendetta,
You wanna
Vendetta.
find the roof, Jack?
Vendetta.
Ben's okay.
UCO. Mauga.
Mauga.
We've seen the Farah. I'm putting numbers on card. Do you see? Where was Ven? Didn't even see him.
I don't know.
Just one.
Mauga window. I'm crouching.
Still getting caught. We're getting caught.
Saving my HP and in front of him. Ben close right here. Ben close right. Ben will contest.
No, can't walk.
We don't have orbs. We don't have orbs. We're on
Oh,
the
yeah,
super.
shit.
They're so far back. I mean, I'm just gonna do this alright. Dropping for the alright.
Yeah.
No, they're split, they're split. Farah's wide left.
Yeah, Farah's really wide.
Our guys have power. All going top. All going top.
Yeah.
We can hit them. I can go up top. All low.
No suit. Someone carry speed. Ori.
So does blind.
Ori low.
I'm with you, Tom.
I didn't get.
I'm with you, Tom. I'm with you.
So does high ground. Go there. Let's low.
Let's just stable now. They're back first.
We're back past?
I'm back.
Yeah, we might need to back a little bit.
They do eventually find something, do ICL, to force Oxford back away. It looked like they were getting a bit of momentum there, were Oxford, but Renee, having taken down power, did fall eventually, and just the amount of squishies there, a bit overwhelming for Renee to keep alive.
I wanted to bring attention for what we heard from Oxford. They are always calling out Vendetta. That is their #1 priority. They do not care about anything, provided that they have cleared out Vendetta. They have eyes on Vendetta. They can do something to deal with it. They continue to advance here. Geo and Ellery taken down. Finn trade out. Renee has to be very careful not to trade his own life. We did see a little bit of that on map 1, a little bit of over-eagerness from our tank player. And that actually gives space over for power to catch yet another pick and perhaps stymie the Oxford advance.
Yeah, they just didn't get the healing to get Renee back into the fight quick enough. And despite having taken out Eloy and Geo to start off this, it did turn into issues as soon as Renee could not contest, and Sasha Squirts having to back away 9 HP, just about able to get back to the rest of the team.
Considering Rush for Finn's going to have to be the opener, but they seem to be matched out with Carl's Kitsu as well. I anticipate Sergeant Squirt's Barrage. This is the ult to look out for. It could easily turn Power's cage into a death trap of his own making.
Yeah, absolutely. And Power just dies immediately. You're able to throw in that barrage and absolutely nothing they can do. Here we go.
You chill. I'm back in 3.
I'm B. I'm going.
Just you two.
Okay, getting back into this one now. Power again holding the defense very, very steadily here. EdgarTheRuiner, however, gets an opening pick. That's entirely what the Sojourn is good for and what you can expect for a player like EdgarTheRuiner to do for your team. ICL going to take as much time as possible. Obviously, Mauga, pretty big and burly, can hold this corner for a substantial amount of time. Then when things get a little dicey, could utilize the cage, but there's a beat that you have to contend with too.
Yeah, Cage invested now. Rene stuck in it, but able to stay alive, and they're able to burn down Power alongside the rest of the team. All of them fall down one by one, and finally, after a little bit of hassle, they are eventually going to take this first objective and get some time back on the board.
Yeah, it did take them a hot minute though. Imperial, they did really fight that one tooth and nail to try and claim victory, but it didn't work anyway, so they're going to live with a completely empty ult bank. You're going to be giving EdgarTheRuiner both 1, sightline, number 2, overclock, number 3, everyone dies. So it's a small problem that they have to note and deal with. Either they kite it or they try and play very aggressively. Power goes in with the slam. And no, they actually end up getting rid of EdgarTheRuiner in the utilization of that ultimate. That's how you win a miracle fight, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just a lot of pressure onto EdgarTheRuiner, and eventually it's going to pay its toll. Power going down low in this next fight, but just about able to stay alive. I say that, but Sergeant Squirt's finding 2. Rene able to triple up here as well. And force back towards the car. Eloy just has to back off. Wonton in the depths on
Where
Vendetta.
are you, bro?
He's on first point still.
They're taking a flank. This is perhaps a bit more generous than that. We'll put it that way. Illinois are going to be charging up to an override protocol very soon, and this time it's actually Oxford who punished the aggression of Imperial. They went for a heads-up play, but seems like they also have their cooldowns to be able to escape and even find the picks back as well. Again, aggression can sometimes be measured and sometimes not so much.
Yeah, and you can see Eloy just investing that sidearm, not able to get back away before it expired, and just leaves your hit scan DPS as a sitting duck. But 2 minutes 40 on the clock for third, after having about 30 seconds capturing first, is going to look pretty good for Oxford. Not many ults on the table. Mirrored Kitsunes are there, but the override protocol from Eloy should be the biggest thing in this next fight. But Big Bob once again finding the pick onto the override protocol. It's not going to be here for this next fight. Be invested by Mudkip as well. Both support ults thrown in for Oxford, and yeah, they're able to make them pay once more. It feels like as soon as these perks come online for them, they're able to make them pay with it.
I swear as well, like, whenever there is a game-changing ultimate on the field, the ability of teams to recognize that target and make them priority number 1 is huge. LOI able to get off a clean override protocol there would force so much space from Oxford, perhaps an earlier beat that they could not use to kind of re-engage into ICL's Kitsu. But it doesn't matter because EdgarTheRuiner just found that pick anyway and could find even more with double DPS ults online.
Yeah, override protocol now invested by ICL, but they're able to kite it pretty well. Oxford get around the corner, a bit of damage on the end of it, but no kill off the back of it. Rene, though, isolated, no shield to play with, trying to back up, trying to get to the rest of the team, but eventually does fall. Now the beat's thrown in once more by Geode, looking to clean up the rest of these kills and do it rather quickly if they possibly can.
Was that the response though? Because
I don't know, and eventually does fall as well.
But well, because the overclock came out after Rene had already died, right? Were Oxford, from what it looked like, I think that Imperial were in a position to kite that or just wait it out, but instead they go back in with the beat just to make sure. But then Geode falls late in the fight regardless. Now Power gets booted back, so the engage is pretty telegraphed, trapped in the cage. It's as we said, it doesn't make life easier for him necessarily, but of course when you are trapped in the cage with a gladiator like Vendetta, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Rene able to get away, but that's going to be all that they get to get away with their lives. About 20 seconds left, so this is going to be the last engage for Oxford, the last stand for ICL. Rene trying to poke out, looking for power on this high ground. Sergeant Squirt's also trying to cross, but the amount of damage they get onto Rene and then the overrun through this shield is going to be devastating. Falls immediately, and now you've got no anchor for this point. Big Bog not even able to get through, but it feels like they're dealing with this shield a lot better in some of these fights, ICL, rather than just losing out to them immediately. And you can tell that Power maybe on the defensive side, just able to wait for those engagements and wait for that shield to be invested rather than going in and forcing it out of Rene.
Last point, not exactly a simple one to attack into either, right? That's the problem. You can see that Imperial are able to just play a lot safer. Oxford have to walk into them and put themselves into risky positions, even doing things as pedestrian as pushing the cart forward a bit, right? And if they're not able to if they're not able to live up to all that pressure, then they just collapse, and that's kind of what we saw here. Ultimately, though, the Yellow Box of victory, not totally undefendable, not totally not undefendable, not totally unobtainable either. Note that we do see a lot of first point holds on Shambhala for maps. Oxford were able to avoid that by the skins of their teeth, but, you know, there's not an impossible chance that Imperial do suffer from that kind of fate.
Yeah, Geode being able to combine both of the funny numbers somehow, going 6, 7, and 9. And the pressure onto the Lucio of ICL has got a bit of an issue, but we're going to go in and listen in with ICL for their attack inside and see what they're
Yeah, just got a bit and then go top.
Nice.
Yeah, same one.
Pushing payload for free now, which I'm just hard pocketing.
Yeah, Power's doing cuts. Right, can we rotate towards?
I need to get out.
I can move cart a little bit when you want to walk. Okay.
Don't get out. Right, can we let's move cart ready? 3,
Wait, I was
2,
gonna close outside.
1. Yeah, walk on the Ori. Ori jab.
I can go back line.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm chilling.
Oh,
Careful spam.
Yeah.
Can we go hard now? Can we go hard now?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Oh, it's fine. You can go. You can go.
Yeah.
Far one. Far low. Far low. Ori low.
Sorry.
Carry nothing.
Copy tank. Okay, chill down. Move cart, chill.
The Big Bog with a massive stand there, but the rest of the team falling around him means that the cart is going to push forwards for ICL, and you can see that instead of trying to engage onto Rene, they are just sort of running past that Orisa and getting onto the backline immediately as much as possible as they try and engage onto this corner. A second fight for Oxford. They back up potentially in Power, getting that first kill once more onto Sergeant Squirts. It's going to help things a massive amount for ICL, pushing through once again, but Oxford, they're a bit penned in here.
I mean, yeah, there was a good boop from Mudkip. It was able to deny the slam of Power, so able to kind of push that threat back a little further. Obviously buys more space for Oxford and for Egg Roadman. Crazy combo up against the wall from Wanton to delete Mudkip from the game while the overclock is being utilized. Carl also invests the Kitsune Rush into that one, mirrored out by Finn. Relatively even ult trade, if a tad in favor of ICL.
I think it's really in favor of ICL. They're able to take out Rene as well. The Terror Surge was invested partway through that fight. Geode now using that beat, and they can push forwards off the back of this. Eloy down low, but able to hold onto the cart for now. And now it's Wontom's time to back up, get back to a health pack, but surely this is going to be it for this first objective. And yes, it is. They don't touch the point.
Wouldn't be a match without one, right? I mean, Oxford weren't exactly in a prime position to win that, especially because Rene had just made the last overswap over to the Wrecking Ball. Of all things to play into a Mauga, Wrecking Ball might be a bottom 1, bottom 2 pick. So we'll see how that goes in the long run. Rene obviously swaps back over to the Orisa now. Imperial did burn through their entire bank. Of course, it was a clutch beat from Geode that opened up that fight in the first place, but obviously you don't have that now. Oxford are going to be very comfortable with their beat and their barrage.
Yeah, it should be difficult for Imperial to get forwards onto this corner, but a good Suzu is going to hold off on the kill for Carl, but eventually the damage does tell. The rest of the team able to fight back into it, though. Power and Eloy getting one each, and now in a clean 3v3. Rene just trying to fight forward. Mudkip gets the kill onto Eloy, eventually cleaning up. But yeah, the flip is here. And now Power just trying to get out of here. They're able to use that Spear Spin, not quite at that shield yet, but Mudkip doesn't get away. Wonton able to punish, and that could be a good pick for them to reinvest onto this.
Yeah, Imperial are somehow still in this. They're just going to keep charging forward. Finn puts the Kitsune Rush in, actually past the tank. Power again able to get Sergeant Squad out of the air, not trading his own life out somehow. Carl, of course, nowhere near the ultimate of his own. We do not get the Ajax! Oh, shoot! Don't play with my heart like that, young fella. Wanton utilizes the extra HP from the beat to try and go for a Sundering Blade play, but it's not quite going to be successful. Oxford had to reach in, pull everything out of their pockets to defend that one, but defend it they do.
Yeah, absolutely. We all thought it was going to happen, right? You see a Lucio flying in the air with Egg Roadman popping that overclock, but no, Geo just about able to touch down. Doesn't matter for the final terms of the fight, though, but with Cole on this unmirrored Kitsune Rush, should be fairly easy for them to get back into a positive environment here, especially with Power and Eloy close to their ultimates as well. Now online for Power. That cage fight could be invested here, and yes, it is. Just locks down the point, and I mean, you're able to walk back out of it, and Geode once again found as the first pick from Big Bog, putting up huge numbers on this second. Eloy says no immediately, and it sweeps back through. Straight blue for ICL in the kill feed. All 5 full, and they do take the second objective.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Power got anyone in that cage.
I think Power got Rene, but Rene was just able to walk out with Fortify it.
Unbelievable work. The point is, it was relatively ineffective, but ultimately it was LY on the angle, doing a fantastic job with the override protocol. Not doing a great job in the, you know, just neutral, completely exploding in the face of Mudkip, but happens to the best of us. So Oxford going to press their advantage now. They just need the last percentage for some of these key ultimates, then they're going to have a full bank to work with. Then it's on them to be disciplined with the use of them. Imperial, not disciplined at all. They're just going in. They don't have a thing to their name, but they're just walking anyway. And it's working for them. They're in a 4v3 now. 4v2 make it with the sharp shots from Eloy.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not too long here for the cart to go forwards. It's going to be difficult for them to recontest with the 3 ultimates for Oxford, but they'll take exactly what they can while they have it. Wonton just holding down the block on point. No one contesting for now, but ICL do have to back up eventually, and these next couple of fights, with the time bank left, is going to be trying to burn this ult bank of Oxford.
Yeah, this is a problem. Oxford know that they can just stagger out the usage of these and it's fine. I still have 2 options. Either they go for some dry fights, or they wait to charge up everything. Or they pick the hidden third option, which is get a kill despite all the ultimates, force Oxford to utilize them in a risky manner, and that they do. Right? A 3-0 ult fight. Oxford, because of Imperial's aggression, they get a surprise pick. Oxford panic. It's not a blame thing, but like you would in that situation. They then burn all of their, I mean, their best ults. The Terror Surge is not bad by any means, but it's relatively ineffectual in the face of all the others, right? Now Imperial, they're going to have
look
their
at the ult bank on
Sundering
ICL.
Blade and their beat. Soon enough, they're also going to have Override Protocol and Kitsu too.
Yeah, surely they should be able to make this pay, but 46 seconds is going to lead to some misplays, and Eloy going down early isn't going to help them. Be invested to try and get forwards. Only one going to be found in it is Power, but of course able to sustain through it. But Big Bog going up big once more. Whenever they need him, he does seem to come out of the shadows and find some huge picks. 3 on the fight for Big Bog, and now 20 seconds left. ICL have to make these ults pay.
Yeah, I mean, Oxford, they just pulled off, like, the evil Imperial tech. They took their own strategy, which is just kill them first, right? And that's exactly what they do. They take out LOI, so we delay the use of that override protocol. We have a Kitsu. Oxford don't have anything regarding this space. They just have to deal with it. Now we have Renee, who is firmly stuck in the cage, and Sergeant Squirrel, who is now stuck in the spawn room, on immediately killing himself. We stun Wantom! No way we stun Wantom out of the Sundering Blade. That's so much damage that could have come through, but it's an overtime situation now. LRI has been getting the picks with the override protocol, and at the end of the day, the ult advantage was a little too much of a burden to bear for Oxford, but damn did they make it close. ICL, though, still with a firmly controlling and well-deserved win on Shambali. So Tennis Theory, still alive.
Yeah, holding to serve for now, and I mean, this could potentially be what we have just seen, and indeed it is. Some clutch moments there for Oxford, as they were almost able to get it across the line on their defense, but not quite close. But no cigar, as Rene did eventually fall, and they weren't quite able to take it there. But I mean, 1-1 looks like we could be in for 7, as was predicted by the desk.
Yeah, that we could. Speaking of the desk, we're going to be hearing from them shortly. We're going to send things over to a quick break, because when we're back, we're going to have the desk to run you through those 2 maps and how the rest of this series might play out. I'm sure they have some wonderful talking points for us. Don't go anywhere. We'll go to a short break, and then we'll be back with a little bit of analysis.
Hello everyone, welcome back to us here at the desk. 1-1 between Oxford and Imperial College, and I'd like to change my prediction. I think I don't think it'll be 4-1 anymore. I don't know. That Shambali was really competitive. The Busan, I did feel like it was a little bit, aside from Sanctuary, it felt like it was kind of Oxford sided, which I think is a little bit interesting, because you would expect the Moga comp to kind of excel on mecha base more than any, but it felt like they struggled the most on mecha base. So we'll come to you first, Baker Boy. Why do you think that was? Why do you think Imperial College on that Moga struggled on mecha base more than anything?
From what I saw a lot of Rene just keeping everyone in check. Obviously, Sergeant Squirrel also insane. That guy is too good. But I think obviously with the Orisa and the Soj on the field on that mecha base, a lot of the times the kind of turns were just being out-rotated and just being picked down, you know, perfectly shut down, and ICL couldn't get the kind of value they wanted from the Malga.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And talking about that Emre Soj matchup, Jane Skewer, as a DPS player yourself, what do you think about the Soj Emre matchup? Because we heard the casters talking about it a little bit. Maybe Emre being favored, maybe Soj being favored. But what do you think both teams, their philosophies picking those heroes?
I think that it's always like a dependent matchup. I think both characters as a hitscan characters are very good at the moment, and it sort of depends on what you're playing with. I think that I like this Soj swap from Egg Road Man into this Malga, because you can charge that rail up so quickly, and you know, because Malga just wants to be in front of you, so it's an easy rail shot, and it's like you can get free picks based on that. So I think, you know, in that case it's a very good swap, and I think even, you know, the Emre, it's a good pick for ICL, because you have that burst damage onto that Orisa, and it's just, you know, especially with that sim that we saw on Busan, that Orisa should have such a rough time into Emre sim, into Malga. So I think that both these picks are very good, and you know, regardless, I think they're both good picks, and with what they're playing, they work well.
Yeah, I mean, but Soj was obviously still busted. I feel like people forget about Soj just because Emre does like a ton of damage, to put it lightly. But the Soj is definitely still viable, like you say. But moving on to Shambali, the more recent map, it felt like Oxford, they were kind of struggling a little bit on that attack, I would say. It felt like they were never really in the driver's seat, if that makes sense. It feels like they were kind of scraping by more than kind of being an attacking force. So why do you think that was, Bakey Boy?
I actually thought Oxford's attack wasn't too bad until the last point. To be honest, I was sat there and I was thinking Oxford probably had that map. I think ICL, there was some really questionable ult usage from ICL there, the whole map really. And I really thought Oxford would win that one, but I think with the Vendetta on the field, even if the fights are scrappy, even if there are ults that you're not getting the value you want for, in the neutral, Power X Wantom on this Malga Vendetta, I think is probably what pushed them over the edge for Oxford, over Oxford there.
Well, speaking of the Vendetta, we didn't actually see Oxford end up going for it. We saw Sergeant Squirrel on the Farah, who was, to be fair, putting in work. And Farah does have that kind of counter matchup, I suppose, against Maga, because you can barrage the cage. But aside from that, do you think there was any reason that Sergeant Squirrel favored the Farah over something like the Vendetta?
I personally think that like Pharah into Vendetta. I don't know if Sergeant Squats is comfortable at Vendetta, but I think Pharah into Vendetta is like very, very good at the moment because you have that range where Vendetta can't really, can't mark you on another flex DPS like maybe a Tracer say, or like a flex DPS that's played with your tank where you will just be taking that damage straight up. I think Pharah, you have a lot of spam damage down, which can just pressure the tank or pressure that Vendetta when they're trying to stage. And I think that's, a lot, like very powerful to sort of mark that Vendetta out and take away their value.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't go their way, but it's always good to see flex DPS aside from Vendetta in my opinion, because she's just a little bit, a little bit too broken, I would say, and no diva as well. But overall, it's 1-1 right now, so it's pretty hotly contested. So I'd say it's been pretty even between the two teams. Both of them two relatively close maps. What do you think Oxford can maybe do to get the upper hand in the next map, Baker Boy?
If I'm Oxford here, I'm looking to probably ban around maybe getting Kiri Lucio off the field. Obviously, Geode, very, very, very good at that Lucio. No one's denying that. But in our series in Sheffield series against ICL, we were looking to shut down that Lucio Kiri as much as we could. And I think we eventually ended up banning the Lucio. So I think maybe a Lucio ban here might be very good for Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, taking out the Lucio, it does make sense. But on the other side for ICL, James Gill, what do you think ICL could bring to the table to maybe swing the game in their favor a little bit?
I think a lot of it's sort of like, looking to ban one of the parts, that different part of the comp. Because that Oxford are going to have this map pick, they're going to have this first ban. So you need to think, okay, what can I ban based on this, Because they've obviously taken out that May very early, which, good pick into the Malga comp. But now you need to think, okay, can we take out this Sojourn? Can we take out this Orisa maybe? Or maybe they could be, as Baker suggested, they could even be the ones to like deviate from that Kirilu backline and go for a different angle. And I think it's just knowing your sort of like matchup and knowing what you can do to sort of like ban around that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing success even in pro teams not even running Kiri Lucio backlines. We saw it was Dallas Fuel in the old USS going flawless in the stage, even running a Kiri Lucio backline one time. So maybe something to take note. Obviously, this is USS compared to WCS, but WCS NA, it's basically the same thing. But before we wrap up, do you guys have any kind of star players to keep an eye on at the moment so far? Who's been catching your eye so far on both teams?
For me, it is just your kind of regular powerhouse names like Power. Obviously, this guy is just insane. He's very good on tank, so obviously keep an eye on him. And then obviously 1Tom 2. Ellie, I feel like hasn't been getting enough glaze this series as well. She's been moving very, very nicely for ICL there. So I'm going to be shouting out those three players.
Any thoughts from you, James Gill?
I think obviously I'm quite biased DPS. I think what obviously you need to watch out for 1Tom just is on Vendetta now, and that character is kind of just does things. And obviously I think Egg Roadman has just stepped up so much this series and been incredible so far. So definitely you need to watch out for that.
Yeah, and lots of players you need to watch out for. I mean, it is the Div 1 Grand Finals. So everyone in this game is going to be better than me at Overwatch, I'll tell you what. They are very good players all around, but you will get to see them in action in just a minute. We are going to be passing back to the casters, so we will see you very, very soon. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
Thank you once again to our desk as we are back, and we heard some speculation there over what the bans would be once more coming into this matchup, and Oxford with it back in their favour. The first time that they have both map pick and first hero ban at their disposal. We'll see what they do with it. They do decide to go to Suravasa, and we'll see the bans in a second as well, but is this telling of what could be coming forwards?
There seems to be a cat on your screen, Avalanche. Could you just get rid of that, please?
Yeah, sorry. We'll make sure it's rehomed. Don't worry about that. But
okay. No, actually, no. I think we need to leave it without a home. This damn cat does too many things and has traumatized me too much. I mean, so the Oxford ban is very understandable. I think ICL
he had to go at one point, right?
I think no. I genuinely think ICL did this because they have bans that they want to use or would use at different times. but like this isn't one of them. You know, they don't see, because we're gonna be locked into like a straight Lucio Kiri duel anyway. So like a support ban wouldn't really do anything. I mean, I suppose you could ban out the Sojourn, the like perhaps Big Bog favors, force onto an Emre, which seems a smidge more uncomfortable with. But obviously, the main thing is going to be the Malga ban, right? This is clearly the style that is favored by ICL. It's the style they're so good at. Again, Power has other characters within his hero pool, can go over, if required, to a D.Va, play that to a high level. I think I've seen his Hazard, his Wrecking Ball a smidge. But like D.Va's a broken tank, so we're gonna see D.Va gameplay. Either that, or you hard enable the Zarya, and you go for a Zarya Vendetta comp. Always a little like dishonest, but also there's a championship on the line. Dishonesty doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see if Tennis Theory does continue. Third map incoming, and it looks like the D.Va is going to be there. Full power. Yep. The decision that they have decided since losing out on the Malga, but Oxford are going to be here very quickly, and the two sides of the map are going to be set up by both teams staging forwards. Power just falling off the high ground a little bit. Maybe the comfortability isn't quite there after being on Malga for so long. Sergeant Squirts obviously as well has that Mei back, and they're able to use the Mei wards to a fair amount of effect. They are now putting pressure on the point capture as well. Power jumping up just to make sure that it doesn't fall into the hands of Oxford too early, but being forced away, surely this is going to make sure that Oxford do get it, and indeed they do.
An absurd amount of poke damage means the Imperial, they just couldn't really walk forward there, right? You know, one of your DPS is a sword lady, so it's not like she's going to be delivering any meaningful poke anytime soon. When you eventually are forced up onto the point, Power's going to be hit with, you know, the slow, the freeze, and ice wall, though granted that won't be as effective. There is a Suzu forced, so there is a distinct cooldown advantage for ICL now. They're going to take full advantage of it. I believe Sergeant Squad also had the ice block utilized earlier, so they do wait their turn and they eventually get it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, it's about being patient sometimes, but 50% on the board for Oxford is nothing to be sniffed at either. It's going to take a little bit for their Mei to get back, going to be taxied by Mudkip, and trying to take advantage of that would have been Wonton, but no. But again, you can see how much Finn is doing to keep the rest of this team alive. Already has Kitsune online, and looks like they're going to be reinvest forwards, and indeed they do invest this Kitsune rush, trying to take control of the space. Power down solo, just about able to use the defense. The first one to fall is Rene. The first one to fall in Kitsune rush is Rene. Somehow they're able to make the turn their advantage. Wonton as well, finding two on the fight, and somehow they win with an unmirrored Kitsune.
Wow, I mean, that can only be described as hubris from Oxford. You go so aggressively, you forget the amount of damage, and credit to Elleray, right? I'm never going to be counting against Eggroman in a straight hit schedule. I don't care who you are. But if Elleray can keep up with this kind of pace, keep it competitive at least, that's going to be good. The only ult on the board there for Oxford, so known, so scouted by Powers, holding that Matrix for until Kingdom Come, basically. And it's a relatively easy affair with an early Kitsu.
Yeah, and the rest of the team just sort of stuck on their lonesome. The two full first, the rest of the team trying to build round the outside, not to be. And despite losing the point initially, having not lost a single team fight, ICL go up 1-0.
Adaptation has been made. We do swap off the Mei. We go over to the Tracer. Should be able to put a bit more pressure onto Elleray in the hit scan department. Of course, along with the general backline pressure. The Mei, yes, you are able to slow the D.Va, but the walls aren't particularly effective at cutting her off as if it was, say, a Malga or something like that. So you're kind of fine to make an adaptation. Speaking of adaptations, we're going to see a quick utilization of the overclock. Mirrored beats, but not one out quick enough for Imperial to save the life of Ellery.
Yeah, but they're still in this fight. They take down Mudkip, and Sergeant Squirts falls in tandem as well. It goes back in the favor of Oxford for the moment, off the back of Big Bog once again, finding these huge utilizations of that rail, and eventually it's going to be a fight win for them. And I'm so glad that was a grenade, because I thought that was a override protocol there for a second.
It's fine. We don't feed all of our ults in the Grandfathers, just a couple of them. Good. There was a good kind of counteract from Oxford there. Imperial had the aggression on their side. Oxford was simply willing to invest more in the way of ults, and it worked out for it. We're going to be sending it over to the listening to see how this fight might shape up.
Okay, leave.
Should fight.
Back
further, Come.
I'm coming, I'm dead.
Yeah, I didn't see you rotate.
Let's go.
Okay, it's still rush. It's gonna be pulse as well.
And he's two. I'm not leaving it. I'm coming.
Well, careful, sorry. I need to look at main. Yeah. I can go through the side.
They're gonna play close. Who's touching?
I think I can touch, but you need to go into 5 of them real. Need to go.
Carry on.
Sorry. That way.
You're supposed to split.
Very nice.
Alright, dying. Get the boot.
I get it.
Dying on point.
No gold.
The override protocol proving a bit too much for Oxford, just ripping through them from the skies, and eventually the rest of the team falls around. Rene just has to reset and regroup. Do still hold on for this next fight though. Kitsune Rush and Pulse Bomb, neither were invested last fight. It's going to be a mirrored Kitsune for the first time in this matchup. As Carl goes first, Finn responds in turn, and Rene already down super low before the Kitsunes can be invested. Goes with the Terror Surge, but most of the team able to back away. 1-for-1 trade as both of the hit scans find their marks, and now with the overclock invested by Big Bog, it is going to look to do some damage, but Rene can't get away from the bomb. The rest of the team falls around him. Looks like after going to 99%, they might be able to hold this one down, Imperial.
We are not dying to big diva bomb. It's 2026, guys. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. In terms of touch, I don't think there is. No, barely Sergeant's able to get there. Utilize the pulse bomb and then gets booped anyway, so that's going to be a very ineffective use of Sergeant Squirt's time and resources. So it's an adjustment over now, 2-0 for Imperial. See if Oxford have any answers for this. Mudkip needs to charge up to the beat, but it's just going to be matched up by Geodes. And completely ineffective. All Wantom has to do to clear this point is just utilize a strike into the skybox. Yeah, like go into the skybox, hold Q by a wall so you can't be shot out of it, and just hold it there. And bam, you've taken the objective for free.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the amount of pressure that's applied to Rene even in this poke fight. Diva's able to do so much damage, and the beat engage is going to be too much for Big Bog to handle. 1-for-1 trade though by Finn. Big headshot with the kunai is going to force them back, and then the boom point to power as well! No way did Mudkip able to do that! Finds a second onto Eloy as well, and the beat reinvested somehow, or it looked like they were in the ascendancy. ICL absolutely...
Oh yeah, power. It was a lag spike. Next you're going to be telling me it was the seat height that made you fall off the map. It's all love. Power's actually a super cool guy. I don't know why I just flamed him like that. But no, it's a massive brute from Mudkip, especially because Power was in a prime position. There were so many low members of Oxford. Power was there with the shotguns, with the missiles, was ready to clean up the fight as a diva does. And then bam, last minute boop, changes everything. Elride looking to change everything here with the override protocol. Mudkip fell low, but nothing else found so far.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just doing well against most of these override protocols to not give a target up to Eloy. The rest of the team goes down low, but Rene just bursted down. Even with the shield, you can't keep your Orisa alive if you're just sitting there like that. Wantom able to utilize that Sundering Blade as well. Mudkip gets one. It looks like the rest of the team is going to be falling by the wayside. And it's only going to be Finn left on the point. Kitsune invested as well from them. It's going to be under.
And note, Sergeant Squirt tried to stick a pulse bomb onto Wantom to cancel the blade, but Power was there with the Matrix. That's the kind of teamwork that they don't teach in your lectures, right? You just have to get that via work and being the GOAT, basically. So Imperial in a fantastic spot right now. They've kind of cleared all of their bases. But Egroman will have an overclock, and we know that this guy is Thanos when he gets one of those.
Yeah, so they decide to go early instead. The Kitsune Rush and immediately they rush in off the back of it. Rene down solo already. Has to pop the Terror Surge just to stay alive here. Power's able to get out as well. Has that bomb that we've seen somehow find effectiveness before. Could it find effectiveness again? Kill onto Wonton is big, and now with through the back of this override protocol, Big Bog is putting them on his back. The rest of the team does fall eventually as well. Still in this one, but the flip isn't gonna quite come back through yet. It is in the hands of Oxford, and they've lost Rene here. They're gonna be able to punish Power. Yes, they are. It looks like this could finally be a point on the board for Oxford as they look to find the reverse sweep on Suravasa.
Sergeant Squad was the GOAT of that fight, and I'll tell you why. Backcapping the point seems like a small play, but it drags Wantom away. Wantom, of course, the biggest kill threat on Imperial, right? Sergeant Squad gets the point, utilizes the recall, and then blinks out. That means that Wantom then gives chase, but the chase is way too aggressive, goes into the rest of Oxford without the backing of Imperial, and suddenly up the creep without a paddle, gets caught out without the cooldowns, 5v4 snowball from there. All because Sergeant Squirt decided to backcap in the mid-fight.
Yeah, we are going to hear from Oxford, though, in this next fight and see how they deal with this override protocol invested by Eloy.
After Emery, after Emery. Emery ended.
2, 1,
Walking. Emery speed.
Emery dead. Nice. Ben top left.
Ben left side.
No,
Look the left side. They're beating in. K.
I got it.
Sit on Ben. I'm sitting on Ben. Ben. Speed.
Go on.
Ben.
You're in a
Ben 1.
Blue one.
Lucy on point.
Lucy one.
Carry on point. No Suzu.
Okay, beat Ben.
Beat Som. Yeah, beat Ben.
Okay, they use Kid 5 to force the mid 7 to you.
And they're using like 50 bomb, right?
So it's
Big investment from both sides, but it does go in Oxford's favor. And look at the ult bank that they have here as well. Everything except from the support ults should be on the table for this next fight.
And it should. Things could be pretty capable for them. The ult bank is so impactful on every map, of course, but with Flashpoint, obviously, generally it's going to decide each individual point. Aside from your first neutral, it's never not going to be an ult fight. I mean, Power has gotten a kill with a Diva Bomb, canonically, in this series, so, you know, wouldn't be surprised if Lightning strikes twice, but it's really only going to be Carl's Kitsu from ICL that can make a dent into Oxford.
Yeah, it is used, but Sergeant Squirt's able to find the first kill, and the bomb invested just to stay alive doesn't find the kill onto Rene this time. Wonton decides to take the glory, but is it too little, too late here? Big Bog trying to put some aggression onto Wonton, but turned around.
What a character, bro!
What is this character, man? Get out of the game.
40 HP turns around being chased and just deletes Aggro Man from the game. And genuinely off the back of that, ICL could be winning again. Like, Rene seems to be a target getting caught out just a bit too often. Very easy pickings for ICL, should they so let them. And again, kind of a fight that shouldn't have been won by ICL, but they do it anyway.
Yeah, Mudkip should have a beat engaged here, though, which could be big for Oxford trying to get back in, but Rene found maybe getting a little bit too aggressive, just about able to back up around the corner, and now trying to hold on to the point. Sergeant Squirts, that's a huge pick onto Carl, going to mean that the survivability is not going to be there. The rest of the team falls as well. Wonton by that Terror Surge, and the rest of them just going down quickly. Eventually, it is going to fall back into the hands of Oxford, and it looks like they're going to try and take an aggressive angle to make sure that Imperial can't get back into this one.
They won't be able to get back to this one. I think they do recognize that. And even better, they've been able to hold on to both support ultimates as well. That is absolutely gargantuan. For Imperial, DPS are going to have to do some crazy heavy lifting in this next fight. The support ults do dictate the game, and it looks like Oxford want to dictate both the game, the map, the whole damn series while we're at it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they're building back into this, but ICL, we're going to listen in with them as they've taken high ground advantage and they look to stake a claim on this fifth and final point.
I can hit again, 2 seconds, 2 seconds.
Lu on. Carry one.
You look, Ori in our backline here.
Okay, let's win.
So just play. Nice.
No.
Okay, Ori.
Ori,
Nice, good shit.
do. Get the fuck up point.
Good job. What do they use?
Just
They
kind of
beat?
sliding in. They match beats. So just kind of sliding in. They have rush. Expect.
Well, just about able
That's
to
emphatic.
hold the tide. Yeah, they lost too early, but they were able to build back into it and yeah, get the F off our point. They're staking a claim here, and they've got the ults to back it up as well.
Yeah, they are. It seemed as if they were a bit split, but also that worked against Oxford. Sure, Renee was able to go into the back and find a miracle pick, but obviously as the tank is such a valuable target to be in that deep with so little support.
Oh, Mudkip just falls immediately. Both DPS ults invested, making sure that the point stays theirs, but it's ticking up for them. Despite the momentum being back with Oxford, got no ults apart from Big Bog to fight back into this. It's going to need to be a very big overclock here to try and claw them back into this 5th and final objective.
Remember evil tennis theory, right? If Imperial wins this suddenly throws off the balance of Oxford. This would be their map pick and their ban, so it would be a little bit of a disaster to go down here. This is really their final opportunity to make a dent right now. Again, has to be EdgarTheRuiner with the overclock.
Yeah, they've managed to get up to the high ground, but they're chasing it down. They know that this is the thing that can win Oxford the map, but immediately does fall. They just collapse, and the ult tracking is monumental from them. They're able to make sure that the overclock does absolutely nothing for them. TerraSurge does get one Tom, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Rennie, now without the cooldowns, is going to fall to Geo. They are still going to try and fight here, but the boost is able to chase down Mudkip. Sergeant Squirt's the last one on point. The rest of the cavalry has arrived to back up the Tracer, though. They're still here. They do have the zoning tool of this D.Va Bomb if they really do need it. And the point is in control of Oxford in all of this. They're still backing up for them, but Big Bog has fallen at the wayside of Carl, going huge on the Kiriko. 2 kills on this fight alone. Rene back on the Wrecking Ball, but I think it's not going to be enough. Mudkip with that beat as well, but 2-man beat surely doesn't decide this.
We made a club. It's called the I Hate EdgarTheRuiner Club, and all of the ICL members are just full-on committee members. Power with 46 and 5? Ew. What are you doing, my guy? What are you doing?
That's disgusting. That's actually disgusting. And it felt like it was turning back into Oxford's favor, right? They've had to pull off the reverse sweep on Saravasa, and it felt like it was coming back to them. They were able to get it back to even Stevens going back into that final objective, but that first fight on that final point really did them in terms of them just not being able to fight back in, and with the ults and the advantage that ICL had, they were just able to cling on to it, and now they take the advantage 2-1 in this series.
Yeah, that they do. And as I was saying, this kind of upsets the balance here. Oxford go to their pick. And remember, they banned the Mauga. That's ICL's bread and butter. That's the thing that ICL, could and should be winning on. And then they just go over to the D.Va anyway, and it does them completely fine, right? So, you have to be very pleased with yourself if you're ICL. Tad disappointed if you're Oxford, because you get rid of what's that thing where it's like you take your opponent's you give your opponent your best punch, and then they just stand up, and it's like, oh, okay, so we ban out their best character and their best style, and then they win anyway. It's not a great look. I think that this was, tell you what, this was all because of the ICL jetpack cat ban. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have won this. That's
monumental ban. I mean, we didn't
truly
see the vision, but
people think that Oxford is the smart uni. Imperial, I mean, granted, Imperial is also a very fucking clever uni, but no, ICL are just a league above, clearly, with IQ that high.
Yeah, we didn't see the vision, but it pays off for them, and with them not being able to switch Mudkip onto the jetpack cat, surely that would have made an advantage in the final fight, getting back a bit quicker, but no. We jest, but ICL, I mean, the thing is, you fight into these matchups, it's difficult for them to return a punch for a long time. The ICL seem to have the advantage, and it was just too much of a mountain to climb for Oxford. You can't wait until these perks come online to be like, oh, okay, we're going to eventually get there. Runa Sapi is the call from Oxford, leaving Hybrid open as the last one, but they've already lost their advantage from having won Busan in the first place.
Army is a little surprised that Oxford they don't want to go to Hybrid. At least they're leaving Hybrid so late. Hybrid, I mean, if you give ICL the pick, they're going to go to King's Row, and then you're a little bit screwed, right? Because then, like, you have to deal with a Malga in the, like, face-to-face. I think, like, the distinction, I think the analysts are talking about it quite well. Obviously, Orisa and Malga are both a brawl, so how do they kind of differ from each other? Malga, of course, is very good, like, directly in front. Orisa is a little bit of a sponge, right? Orisa herself has less playmaking potential than a Malga does. Malga, of course, much more difficult to execute with those stomps, with that with those stomps, with the coordination of the rest of the team, with the fact that without Cardiac you're relatively squishy, but you can build an entire team comp around it. Orisa is just sort of a cog in the machine to enable the rest of the team, whereas Malga is like kind of your win condition. Most of the time you are playing to engage with a good Malga stomp onto the enemy backline, and it helps as well you can shred through the front line if required too. Runa Sapi, as we go over here, the first ban from Oxford was a Ramatra. I don't anticipate this because Imperial would have played it, so perhaps a protect ban of some kind. In the meantime, Sojourn ban from ICL makes sense because Big Bog is in fact, Big Bog or Egg Road Man, we should call him, is Thanos with an overclock, so we're just not going to let that happen. The raw Angel between the M-Rays, because we will likely now see the double M-Ray, between LY and Egg Road Man is going to be the stuff of legends.
Yeah, but it feels like the protect ban's there for the Orisa, and we've seen that on the last two maps, it feels like even on Busan to an extent, it felt like the Orisa was just being walked over. And you can't win without Malga on the table. Now Malga comes back in and you're losing Big Bog Sojourn. It looks like it could be difficult. I wonder whether they should switch something up going into Runa Sapi and maybe try something else, because to me it feels like the Orisa just isn't quite working to the level that they think it is or that they want it to. As we look back over the series, Busan going 2-1 to Oxford. Shambali and Suravasa, though, falling to ICL, and now with ICL in the driver's seat, Runa Sapi has, you feel like, to be a turn in the momentum for Oxford if they're going to stay in this grand finals.
I'm not sure the angle I see by which Oxford win this one. That could be recency bias. Let's not forget Busan, right? Oxford looked fantastic. Let's not forget that Suravasa did go all the way to 5, that Shambali was decided in an overtime fight. The scoreline is 2-1, but I think that is giving it, maybe giving ICL a little too much credit there. This is far closer than, I mean, I say anyone could have anticipated. I think everyone expected it to be at least a little bit close, but this is shaping up to be a fantastic, fantastic match. I do agree with you in terms of the momentum, though, right? Because ICL, I mean, esports in general is so momentum-based, so mental-heavy. If ICL get rolling, then, like, I don't foresee that train stopping, right? Now that it's picking up the momentum, you have to close out at Runa Sapi. Losing Suravasa itself wasn't acceptable enough for Oxford, but you'll take it if you can at least bounce back on Runa Sapi and get a clear mental reset after that. If not, you're 3-1 down, and, I mean, then the Vendetta team is just beating you into the ground.
It's just a bit too much of a mountain to climb, but, I mean, you do look at Shambali and Suravasa and you say, you know, it was close. They didn't get it across the line, did Oxford, but that's the mark of a champion for ICL, is you're winning these close maps. If it falls the other way, you know, we're talking about, especially on Shambali, a 2-0 Oxford lead, and it's going to be difficult for ICL to battle back in, given the momentum basis of esports in general, but they're able to flip the script, they're able to just about get there on overtime on their attack, and then Suravasa, they were able to come out swaying, take the first two, and even though Oxford battled back to 2-2, they didn't find it in the end. And the mark of a champion is winning those tough matchups, winning those matchups, especially where you've lost your best character, and now you have it back on the table for the entire rest of the series.
I also want to point out just how fantastic the target focus is from Imperial. I do say that with the knowledge in mind that like 95% of the time their target is Egg Road Man, because like sure, but also
sure, of course it's going to be.
Yeah, like who else? Renee, if Renee gives you the opportunity, yes, Mao can deal with that at close range, but of course she has the spear, the spin, the shield, possibly the fortify, even if it doesn't quite prevent crits anymore. It's still a very good tool for survivability on the front line. So preferably you would try to not shoot her all the time. If not, Lucio Kiri, you're not killing a Lucio Kiri. And like that kind of just leaves you with the DPS, and you know the carry is the hit scan. Everyone knows it. Oxford is a fantastic team head to toe, but they are built around their hit scan player. They are built around Egg Road Man and his ability to hit shots, and how everyone can work around that, right? So this is the opportunity now for Oxford to get their head back in the game. It is not over yet, but if this goes over to Imperial, things are going to be a little bit cooked. Oxford are going to get their Mei back, and in a weird kind of turn of events, I think this is going to be more effective onto the Mauga that Imperial favor. So a little bit of a stronger matchup now for both of these teams now that the bans are gone. So it's kind of evened out.
Yeah, both teams staging towards this slightly higher ground. A good spear onto Eloy, but traded out for that Suzu. The rest of the team able to push forwards off the back of it. And yeah, we will see how Big Bog or Egg Road Man can do on this Emre. Of course, we saw it to start off with on Bassam before switching over to that Sojourn, so not something we haven't seen in this series, and it's a good Mei wall as well to make sure that they can't get in onto Egg Road Man, and they've been able to flip the script here a little bit. The map is flipped slightly, but with the bot going in Oxford's direction, it's a nice start for them, even if Rene does eventually go down here. No, the spear survives.
Yeah, so sometimes you just live for a little bit too long. Taunts Squad not going to be able to have the same amount of success in the tank trade, even if Egg Road Man's able to get the differential onto Eloy. It's all going to be for naught. Imperial bring that one back. Oxford, credit to them, however, they were able to drag away the objective for quite a while. Pulling the bot is always going to be slightly more advantageous than pushing it. Forcing the enemy to have to constantly engage you means more opportunities for them to make a mistake. When you're the ones pushing it, obviously you'd... when you're the one defending it, you don't have that same onus on you. Of course, lead going to be taken for ICL, but briefly. This is Flashpoint, of course, till we get to these forward spawns. The lead isn't going to matter too much.
Yeah, push. It's really a push and pull matchup, and the Unmirrored Kitsune Rush is going to be kited here. It didn't go too long. I think it got caught by the bot there. Now, Big Box decides to invest this override protocol as well with the investment of the Kitsune on the other side. Now the Oxford has run out. They're not able to find a kill off the back of it, but One Tom's gone down solo, and now they're able to capture the team in the cage. The rest of the team falls down by the wayside, and once again, ICL a pretty clean fight, using 2 ultimates, but 3 still left on the board as they look to get forward spawn.
Imperial played that one masterfully. They really did. The push and pull in action there. Kitsu comes out, they don't have their response, they kite it perfectly, no value obtained from that aside from a little bit of cart progress. Then they wait out Egg Road Man's override protocol. Then they re-engage with 2 of their ultimates to secure the fight. So, you know, things looking very good for them. They still have the beat advantage too.
Yeah, early beat from Geo. The Blizzard is invested from Sergeant Squirts, but they're able to just stay away from it. And eventually they find the kill onto the Mei. The beat trying to keep Rene alive through this Thundering Blade, just about able to. But Big Box fighting back in this, and Rene's able to find the kill onto One Tom as well. They have let this forward spawn be taken though, and this is a huge thing. Even if ICL lose this fight, they have.
They might even not.
With Rene going down, they're able to stem the bleeding, turn the tides, and it's back into their favor. But not if Big Bog has anything to say about it.
It's not the worst case scenario, but considering how that fight started, ICL are feeling pretty good, right? They got capture of the objective. Rene is still dead, so they're going to force at least an extra ultimate out here in Finn's Kitsune Rush. They get the forward spawns, as they say. And then Power leaves with his life. So the reset going to be quick. Of course, Wanton did get taken down. So there is still some delay. And they are hunting down Power desperately. Oh, that's a fantastic wall for fantastic Suzu as well. The big cage. Big cage, my guy.
Yeah, we are gonna hit it with ICL as they try and take this bot back and make sure this forward spawn doesn't fall into the hands of Oxford.
Help me guys, help me guys.
I'm trying.
Yeah, just kill me. Okay. Nice job. Ult.
We used to get to nade,
They used Kitsune 1 before as well.
Did they?
Slightly faster.
Yeah, they used
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay, it's Epstein fucking that first to be.
Yeah, Ori ult soon as well, maybe.
Yeah, Ori soon.
They're gonna farm Ori and Maze really fast.
Yeah.
Big time.
I can hit from left side when they drop. They're gonna have to drop through here, and it's such a good hit for me when they drop. They go back main.
Heal me, please.
Let's play chill. Let's move
They're walking around.
I'm killing backline here.
Ori's alone.
Ori.
I'm pretty dead.
Ori. Please live.
They'll lose out.
I'm with you. This is still high ground. This is really split high ground. I'll keep you up. I'm pick. Okay.
No, Suzu.
We have cart. Are you sure?
We have cart. Just keep moving cart.
Still fighting forwards here. They don't have the ults in the back pocket. Oxford have both DPS ults and are coming up on pretty much all 5. But they're still not investing anything at the moment. It's allowed Geo to build this beat as well. And we've seen how well they've kited ults in the past. Eloy and Geo decide to throw it in. And Mudkip can't get back to the rest of the team, pinned against the wall by the override protocol. They have invested this Kitsune rush, but once more, Finn's stuck here. Just about staying alive, but not for long. Eloy finds the kill. Big Bog trades out onto Cole, though, and eventually the rest of Imperial do fall, but it's a big cost for Oxford. Look at the ults that they invested.
Oh my, Eloy and Eggroad, man, genuinely Thanos and Oppenheimer-esque battle. Like, what's going on? They're killing everything. Yes, Oxford do have a distinct ult advantage. They did utilize that in the last fight. They're able to reset to neutral, so forward spawns of Imperial have been taken away. Isn't going to stop them from being able to have a fight at this neutral point, however.
Yeah, and the ults that they have here, Sundering Blade, Cage, and Kitsune Rush, is going to be devastating if they can get them online and use them to their advantage. Wanton just about gets out, manages to avoid the wall of Sergeant Squirt, but Rene, they might not be able to be said. They do invest this beat just to try and keep them alive, but it's not going to help them against the Sundering Blade of Wanton. The true damage too much for the rest of the team to handle, and once more it falls into ICL's hands. They do invest all 3, but you can see there's not really anything there on the other side for Oxford as well, and if things stay how they are, it's ICL taking a 3-1 lead and heading up to match point.
Lock him up and knock him down. Exactly what we saw there. Fantastic combination comes through. Everyone trapped up in the Mal cage, not able to escape. Wanton also popped that ultimate the moment Mudkip's sound barrier came out. So the false sense of security that was given to Oxford was very quickly turned around onto them. Remember that all Imperial have to do, given how huge their lead is, just stall, play calm, play measured. Yeah, Oxford are the ones that need to make a big move here.
Yeah, and Avril's law of push. 100 meters now in the back pocket for ICL. Usually you're going to see someone win if they've gotten this far. Cole has to invest the Suzu to get away from Sergeant Squirts, and does force that cryo freeze in return. A couple of ultimates coming onto the board now for Oxford. Have to use them to their advantage and get forwards as well, but maybe they don't need them if power goes down early. That's the first time in the neutral it feels like that they've been able to take down this Malga in a long time. Eloy just trying to stay alive. That perk absolutely devastating if you can keep it up for long enough, and manages to stall out for quite a while, but the team kill does come through, and Oxford now we're going to listen in as they try and build back and maybe get this forward spawn under their control.
Yeah, that's fine. I can pull the bot. I keep going.
Okay, you go.
They're main. I'm going forward. Look at Pix and Emre. Spearing.
Yeah, I'm on bot.
Speared. Half. Emery's pushed out.
If Matt comes.
They beat it in. I'm on bot. Freezing Malga. Malga, get the freeze. Malga. I have heal perk. I can heal now. Carry.
Freeze in, crew boots in there.
Bro, I'm actually said that I got pooped off, but I didn't ult.
I don't quite get there eventually, and once more, that forward spawn just out of their reach. ICL coming up clutch when it matters most, just to keep that off the table for Oxford. And with a minute left, it's going to be difficult for them.
ICL just making like some absolutely fantastic adjustments just in terms of their playstyle, in terms of waiting out Oxford's aggression. Otherwise, going to utilize the nade, going to aggressively utilize this override protocol. Hasn't caught anything with it yet, but look at the zoning potential. Look at the resources that have been forced out of Oxford. And Anime Wizard Sky Battle results in Finn getting deleted. And
somehow Geo finds that kill! That's crazy from Geo just going up and saying hello to Big Bog in the sky. Manages to tank that heavy shot and gets the boop off in the end, somehow able to stay alive once more. Not really too much in the way of ults on either side. Blizzard could be invested for the cage, but whether they last that long with this combination that we've seen before of that cage and the Sundering Strike, with the beat on the other side, Oxford are going to have to be careful not to make the same mistake. So they're going to need it, though. The Blizzard can't be invested with Sergeant Squirts off the battlefield. Now they invest the beat and just about able to stay alive, but surely not for long. The chip damage just too much. And now they fall one by one. Big Bog not able to get back to the bot. And it's a commanding 3-1 lead that ICL now hold the momentum firmly in their hands, with only I believe it's Hybrid left on the table for Oxford to battle back into this. They've got a bit of a mountain to climb if they want to win Div 1.
Here's the issue that we run into, right? God, I mean, like, the meta is meta for a reason. And you can try and dance about it with bans, you can try and dance about it with map picks, etc., etc., but at the end of the day, it's going to be dominant, and Vendetta is still dominant and is probably going to be dominant for the rest of time. It seems like this is truly a release brig level of hero power. It's ridiculous, but that's not our job to say. It is ICL's job to take advantage of, and that they are doing. And Wanton has looked very solid on the Vendetta. It's being enabled by the very I'd say quite hyper-aggressive style that they have. They're always fishing for picks. They're always fishing for someone out of targets. Always fishing for a very slight cooldown or health or man advantage that they can capitalize on. And each individual opponent is doing their job phenomenally in that process.
Yeah, we saw ICL do this actually against Strathclyde in the lower finals when they were able to take it 3-0 quite convincingly. All the pressure they had was going straight onto Envy, the star hitscan player. Obviously, Strathclyde have had to switch things up this split, having to move some people around after losing Spectron and Umbre. Then it felt like a little bit difficult for them, but the two that they had were Tartan and Envy on their main roles, and they knew. Imperial College London know as soon as they look at these teams, we know who you're going to try and play around, and we're just not going to let you do it. Big Bog, I mean, under the right circumstances, can carry absolutely anyone to a series win, but the right circumstances aren't here. You've got a Malga overrunning onto you that you can't stop. You've got the rest of the team diving in, one Tom on that Vendetta. The rest of the team, it's going to be so difficult for them. And now you pick King's Row. It feels a little bit desperate. And I mean, the hope is that they're going to be able to get back into this match, but I don't know if I see it, Edgar.
All the teams do at Oxford is one of them. It's not like I hate that they picked King's Row here. It's more so I would have liked if they picked something else, you know?
Yeah.
Hollywood and Midtown are very stylistically different maps. Maybe I understand you're scared of Power's Diva, because we did see on not Busan, sorry, so Vasa, the Power does have a fantastic Diva in his back pocket. And that could be enabled very well by going to something like Hollywood or Midtown. But, like, is King's your solution? Because, you know, there's the Diva, which you've lost to. Granted, it was quite close. And then there's the Malga that you lost to. And in one instance, you beat it. One instance, you lost closely. And one instance, you lost and it wasn't particularly close. All that said and done, you're still down against it. Do you have new adaptations? Because I don't think that Oxford going to Kings suggests they're not looking for some kind of flash in the pan moment of brilliance of we're going to suddenly invent a brand new composition. It's going to be so good and everyone's going to think we're so awesome and cool. No, they're going to stick to their guns. That they're probably going to play something akin to the Orisa style with the Mei Sojourn or Emre they've been used to, and the Lucio Kiri. But I'm not sure it's enough. They're having to make some very major and very sudden stylistic changes if they want to secure a victory.
Yeah, and we've seen the only things that they've changed is when it's been banned against them. We haven't seen them switch off of this Orisa once. And I feel like that's where you've got to switch away from. Surely you've got to understand that what you're running through with isn't quite working, and the definition of insanity is doing things over and over and over and thinking that it's gonna be exactly the same as what's happened before. And the last 4 maps, I mean, Busan, yeah, they were able to hold with the punches and fight back, and with Wonton away from that vendetta, it was more difficult for them to build forwards. But as soon as Wontom's had that back, ICL won every single map, and they look so comfortable. They look like they're in the driver's seat, and you can see it in the way that they are playing. They are immediately engaging onto Big Bulk, making sure that there's no space for the Star Hitscan player to be able to take over the match. And with that, they're able to make sure as well that Eloy has the space that she needs to be able to do the same going the other way. We've seen impactful kills at the start of fights by the hit scan of ICL, and at the end of the day, you've just got to look and see, is it the definition of insanity that you're trying to get something to work and it's the same thing, or do they have something planned on King's Row that might be able to flip it back into their favor?
Port strat. They're going to do port strat.
I'd love to see it.
Nothing else is going to win except port strat at this stage. We do have our bans in.
They're going to be forced off the Orisa. I mean, I feel like that's.
But I like the Emre ban. I really like the Emre ban from Oxford. Because
I don't know if this is a throw from ICL though. I feel like the Orisa just hasn't been working. You're forcing them to find something else. You're forcing them into experimentation, which might allow them to get the map and momentum back into their favor. I feel like potentially it could have just been better the devil you know than the devil you don't, but we'll see how Oxford feel about having to go off of this style that they've stuck with this entire way so far.
Where did Emery go? What the hell? Bring him back, guys. Where'd you put him? Oh, there he is. Fantastic.
There he is.
He does that. That's my friend. Don't mind him. He does that sometimes. But no, I like the Emre ban because after the first map where I took a moment to kind of warm up, Elroy has been doing some like Oppenheimer-esque plays on Emre this year. Not just the ults have been generally there and with it, but also just in general. If you're able to about have a 50-50 matchup with Eggroad, man, I'm putting you in a top tier of hit scan player. That's simple, and we're definitely improving that. Now, before going to the Sojourn, that is definitely Eggroad man's comfort pick. We'll see whether that can be lived up to regardless. But the Orisa ban, I mean, I get what you're saying, but also like we haven't seen anything else from Oxford. You say force into experimentation, but experimentation onto what? Like they go Diva. Power probably wins that head-to-head. Power has a very strong Diva. Zarya maybe? I mean, that would also work in Imperial's favor because they run the Vendetta. That enables it very well. Oxford don't run the Vendetta. A lot of this boils down to the fact that Imperial are playing, yes, the best character, but they're doing it exceptionally well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you are going to have to come up with something for Oxford to get back into this one. Otherwise, it is going to be a 4-1. And I mean, Sky Knight predicted a 4-1, but the other way, and the other two on the desk predicted a full 7 maps going towards ICL. But I mean, it feels like Oxford just don't quite have the staying power in this matchup. They've tried it so hard. They've tried to sort of let the early advantage come in and then hit back when those perks are online, but they're just giving themselves too much to get back into these individual maps. And by the time the perks come online, it's just a bit too late, it feels like.
The problem is I can't point to a specific thing that Oxford are doing wrong, which is just a testament to how well ICL are playing, right? Like, Oxford usage, like, their ult usage is good, their positioning's good, ICL just does it better, right? They're able to kite more effectively, they're able to kite more effectively, they're able to just be a little more solid on their execution. I've been very impressed with ICL, because I was expecting, even if it would have been a bit close, I was expecting Oxford to kind of run away with this series, but they just have not done that yet.
Okay, this is several changes, but we're gonna hear in with Oxford as they try. Oh, sorry, that's ICL as they try and get forwards into this match and start their attacking side off well.
Second.
I can't see anything. No.
They're hiding. They're hiding.
They're not showing. Yeah, they're not showing. Okay. I will see if I can get a Viper fight ground. Otherwise, if it's
Stop
not
now,
safe,
so you can open lines back by the time the door's open.
I've been playing so much.
Yeah, they're Imperial.
Alright, let's fight.
Novelty now.
Fighting.
Dang.
Can like 5-man hotel.
Zarya.
Push high ground.
Reaper.
Oh my.
Reaper.
Reaper in the ring.
Can we walk after this?
Yeah.
Zarya.
3, 2, 1. Going now. Heading through yourself. Going through yourself.
Half.
Showing carry.
Walking around top.
Yeah. Power, you can do that. Powering the back a bit.
Oh, waiting over side.
Can we take high ground?
Search light. I'm
That's
building.
chill, we have Ellie on high ground. He has to carry that.
And do power and
Oh,
shoot.
need to chill. Get healed. Power shield, get healed.
Reaper
Yeah,
flanking behind the hotel.
We should go engage our back line.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Reaper no TP.
Yeah, he's off.
Shangon's off.
Shoot Reaper a little bit.
I'm just close.
One
Watch out.
Carry one.
Leave one. All 1-on-1.
Nice.
Happy die. Need help. Oh,
Trying to help. Power, you.
Oh.
Burn.
Wait, touch point. Go point. Someone go point.
Never mind.
Power,
No doubt.
Forwards, but yeah, no doubt whatsoever. They were fully invested there. They were fine with that, but they do take the first objective. They're going to be heading on to Streets phase fairly early, and Wonton getting a lot of picks in that fight.
Well, it's not so easy to just say one team is fast, the other team is slow. Oxford, you look at what they have now, they do want to slow things down to a bit of a crawl, right? Get as much value from those Reaper bubble TPs as possible, comboing that with a substantial amount of poke from the Wu Yang, effectively at the same time. Or we could just kill Sergeant Squirt off the rip. That's a good way to get yourself a little cheeky fight victory.
Yeah, and I mean, Rennig trying to stay alive, but he's going to burst it down. Big Bog trying to be the star of the show, not allowed the space to breathe. And I mean, once again, just the early picks taking them out. They do have the ults to fight back in, though, on this next fight, but Sergeant Squirt's like in a little bit behind.
Yeah, right. The Reaper's not necessarily been getting as much value as you would have liked. It's going to take Oxford. It's such a jarringly long walk from all the way to the end of third point to be able to recontest second. That they're going to have to engage in. Early grab comes out, and they do target down Geo. No beat was available, so about as simple as a fight win you can get. Very straightforward. Credit to Renee for having done a lot of damage to be able to charge up to a reasonably fast grab.
Yeah, it just allows them to stabilize and get back there. Power, good timing for my spike. Sure. We love it. But Sergeant Squirts has been able to build up to this Blossom as well. It is a nice clean fight though, only having to use this the grab initially. Now the overclock is invested, and immediately they put a lot into this to try and fight forwards, but it only finds Eloy. That does mean that overclock is off the cards, and Big Bog still has that in the back pocket. Looks like they're going to send ICL packing once more, and with Rene now actually having a fair amount of charge, the longer these fights go on, the better this Zarya is going to get.
Yeah, exactly. And Imperial now split in really weird spots, taking a whole bunch of strange little side fights. But, you know, Wantom's side fight definitely going to be working out. Power traps on Squirt in the cage, along with Renee. The bubbles are going to be completely ineffective against the power of that Mauga. They bring it back. They stay in the fight. They make it super scrappy. Now Mudkip's like gone over to the Juno, but like, what's Juno doing for you in this comp here? It feels like Oxford are just in desperation mode. They're throwing anything at the wall. Nothing's sticking.
Yeah, and second objective falls to the wayside. Now on to third with 4 minutes on the clock. With how they've been playing at the moment, you wouldn't bet against ICL taking it all away and forcing an early attacking side to keep themselves in this for Oxford. They're able to get to the corner and try not to push too much further. It is going to be a bubbled Reaper engage, but now just timing perfectly, waiting for that Suzu to come out and able to cleave down Sergeant Squirts as well. It just feels like everything's going in the favor of ICL at the moment.
No, there is no respect for Zarya or her bubbles. Sergeant Squirt bubbled in, you just shoot, right? Renee tries to bubble himself, shoot, right? There is nothing, because ICL know they have the burst damage to take down any of these characters at will with a Vendetta and a Malga Stomp. You know, that lethal 1-2 combo. Final latter end of this point, Mudkip gonna go over to the Zen. Should cause some issues, but only if, of course, you can keep everyone at a distance.
Yeah, and they're able to do that off the back of Big Bog once more. It feels like you need one of these big ults to be on the table to be able to win it out, and you can see how comfortable Big Bog is, especially after that kill onto Eloy. But at the end of the day, it's difficult for them, and once again, you're throwing something else at the wall. I'm not sure about the Zen, but we're going to listen in with Oxford and see what their plan is for this next fight.
Wait, no, they're not. No. Go, Jack.
Are they all there? Are they all there?
They're not.
Bubble.
Oh, he got one shot. I'm fighting.
I'm stuck here.
Alright. Fuck it. Look for trade. Sodge.
Nice. Good trade.
Very
good trade. They're not moving car yet. Really
we need fast character. No, it's fine.
Good trade is some way of saying that, but I feel like 1 for 5 is a bit of an issue in terms of trading. But now they have to get to this point fairly quickly. Sergeant Squirt's TPing in, but this Kitsune rush could be devastating. They're able to tank down power though. That's the strength of this, the Discord Orb just doing everything. They are able to win the fight off of Renee's grab as well, but it's a little bit too close to comfort to the final point of this objective. With 1:46 left on the clock, ICL gonna have to back up once more.
Not many areas of the game in which a Zen's going to get this much value, but defending King's Third is one of those niches. Can sit basically around spawn. It's almost impossible to close it, especially because Imperial aren't running a Zarya of their own, so Wantom isn't able to close that distance quite as effectively. Has a Transcendence as well, which is going to be a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card for Power's upcoming Cage, likely.
Yeah, there's the Cage immediately. They let Rennie go down low, but there is the Transcendence, and immediately it's just cancelled. They just decide to go away from it. They've still managed to do a lot of damage to Rennie, though. Eventually, they do find the kill onto Geode, and Big Bog has let rip on this overclock once more, finding a couple of kills.
What are you doing? You're about to win the finals! Why are we ulting? What did you try and do? What do you think was going to happen? Okay, yeah. Unfortunate. Happens to the best of us. So, okay, a little bit of a beef. Wanton still has the Sundering Blade, of course, that's going to completely negate any kind of defense Renee might have with these bubbles, but it could be going for just another combo onto Sergeant Squirt with the bubbles and the Death Blossom.
Yeah, it's rough, and this is when you feel like you're a bit too close to it for your own good. As they try and go into the backline once more, Wantom's there, going to force them round the corner, but still going to do a lot of damage to Renee, just about able to survive, but the Sergeant Squirt's Blossom goes absolutely huge, and despite coming in here with 4 minutes, feels like Oxford have been able to have that last stand that they absolutely needed, able to make sure that Third doesn't go into the control of ICL, and now they give themselves a little gold box of glory to get back into this grand finals.
This is solid. This is solid. It took them some warming up, but yeah, Oxford have been able to come into their own here. The only small problem I have is that this was quite reliant on Mudkip Zen at the end, right? It was just a full train forward until we made that adaptation. Discord onto Power, plus the lack of realistic ability to get onto the to get onto the Zen to stop the damage and stop the discords meant that it was tough. You simply can't do that for the rest of this map, especially not when you're attacking. You're going to get like murdered from every single angle. So you think that Juno's going to be your better pick, or perhaps Lucio. Seems like you're fine to stick with the Reaper Zarya angle. Imperial, of course, they know what their game plan is against that, which is just completely disrespecting it.
Yeah, the respect isn't there, but we'll listen in as the start of the attack is there for Oxford and see how they're doing.
Kill them if they fight.
Oh, sorry, ICL.
We can hit early if they are on the same comp, but just play chill. I'm no set up side.
Yeah, I'm basically just gonna sit in hotel basically all game, I think.
They're probably just gonna regrow on the audition back and knock them off the high ground.
You're not gonna play high ground.
No.
Oh, I think if this is what you got round.
Widow, lock in.
Yeah.
Reaper. I'm gonna push the Reaper and he's gonna TP up here. I'm gonna push him in. Okay.
Tom, I think
No,
this
they're
is
looking,
like
they're taking one bubble.
Where's the Reaper going?
If his Zarya walks out,
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go whenever. They're not clearing me.
okay, yeah,
There's Zen back main.
so does
Yeah, Reaper TP. Let's go forward. Then.
Pissed off.
Nice.
Yeah, Reaper's 2 on point.
Kill her.
Okay, 10 point.
It's fine.
Nice.
Huge.
It's so much easier. Just big beat.
Mudkip has immediately swapped off. Like
Yeah,
that's
I'm
exactly
not
what we're
surprised.
saying.
they
Exactly
go out
what we're
of spawn,
saying.
they just walk forwards, and they don't clear Wonton. They're able to collapse onto the back, and eventually the overrun just spikes both of them to the grave. They've been able to clear it in this fight as they walk forwards round the hotel, but once again, it's not really multifaceted. You know exactly what they're gonna be doing. You get a 1-for-1 trade in the end, but Finn going down should spell the end for this. If Rene is able to survive, at least you do get a bit of charge, but still they're sent packing.
Oxford are able to get out though. Obviously, Imperial are going to be down a member, so Oxford can position themselves on the objective. I anticipate that we might see... No, we actually see Power go for a bit of an aggressive engage, despite being low on health. Doesn't work out, so ICL just going to be content to stall out the point as much as humanly possible. There's still a surprising amount of damage being done by Wanton, but no, 2 minutes. Key pick at the latter end of that previous fight was what did it, and just allowed Oxford to break open the kind of riddle of the first point.
Yeah, Geode able to get out, but the same can't be said for Eloy on the Sojourn. Rest of the team is going to be able to back up, so it's not going to be the spawn nightmare that we've seen occasionally for Oxford. Still, though, it's a fairly good first push, even though you know exactly what they're doing. We know what they're doing. ICL, not what they're doing. They're just able to walk forwards at the moment. Sergeant Squirt's positioned on the high ground as well, and Big Bog hasn't really been able to get into some of these fights, and the fact that they're winning without Big Bog doing too much says a lot of good things for them. They're just about able to not kill Geode, but the cage fight invested is going to be a lot of pressure onto Rene, but waits it out and eventually is going to find the grab that causes them all to fall and just about stays alive once more. Team kill bell rings out for Oxford as they push forwards.
Yeah, bow tank ultimate's utilized, but even with the strength Malibu's seeing, Grav's still probably going to be one of the best ults in the game no matter what way you slice it. So it worked out very effectively. Only one more opportunity for Imperial to fight this before the end of second. They need to stop things here or else Oxford's momentum is going to get completely out of control.
Yeah, it'll be exactly what we saw coming out for the first attack. Sergeant Squirts goes down, but Big Bog's able to get the trade onto the opposing Sojourn. But eventually you can see that the pressure that's been there the rest of the way eventually does go on to them. And I mean, Sergeant Squirts used that Blossom as well in that fight and didn't find anything at all. A couple of big ults invested, and ICL are able to stem the bleeding.
We do have a unique situation on our hands though in terms of ults, because we have Mudkip with the beat advantage. 90% of the time you're saying, okay, well this is just a clear victory. But Wanton can use the Sundering Blade cleverly, of course completely ignores the overhealth from Barrier. Can utilize that effectively to essentially shut down an aggressive push from Oxford. But Oxford themselves might know this, and then they might be cautious, try and force Wanton to use that ult first. There's a lot of angles to this game.
They've been a little bit penned in here, but they're taking the fight to their advantage. Eloy popping the overclock as well, and just about able to get away is Mudkip. Now invests that beat, and the overclock as well invested by EdgarTheRuiner. Nothing really found with that Sundering Blade. Does knock the beat away from Oxford, but now Beatbox stuck in the backlines is going to get the help of a bubble, and while everyone's focused on here, they do manage to find the trade onto Eloy as well. So 4v4, no hit scan on either side. Now Renee looking to just make sure that the gap can't be closed by power at the moment. Looking to get some damage in, but it's a good overrun forwards. They are going to get the bubble in to make sure that Renee is charged a little bit further, but fighting forwards is power, and off the back of the amp from Geode is going to be a bit too much to force him back.
Yeah, and that was a really fantastic overrun. Again, getting so much value with these slams. Suzu's, Wraiths, Bubbles, everything, and the kitchen sink to try and deny these, but timing is fantastic, and a cage on top of it. Very cheap fight win for Imperial, 120 on the clock. Continues to tick down. Victory becomes even closer for them.
Yeah, it's going to be on Geo to build this sound barrier as soon as possible. With the Kitsune and pretty much that grab on the other side, it'll be absolutely desperate for them to get that beat online and make sure that it's there to be able to be used. 91% for it. It's going to be there almost, but with Rene pretty much at this grab now, really needs to build quickly. The rest of the team just trying to take this off angle and make sure that there's no way for Rene to catch everyone here. They go aggressive though, trying to get round the corner. They stick Eloy with that, and the grab is there for Geode, but it runs out eventually. Sergeant Squirt's Death Blossom is just going to be too much for them to deal with. 30 seconds left. They're sticking with it here, Oxford. They don't want to give it up just yet. They know they've been so close so many times, and they don't want this to be another one of those scenarios.
Mudkip back up to the sound barrier. Going to have a similar interaction to what we saw last time. Wantom should be getting the Sundering Blade close into this fight. Perhaps LRI with another one as well. But there's so little time left, 1.5 minutes. I mean, we're not all the way at the end, but we still need, in essence, 2 clean fight victories from Oxford here. Of course, wants to clear out the vendetta. Everyone wants this high ground. Sergeant Squirt going to be forced off it, not going to have fun at all, and is forced into the thick of things, and Mudkip with a late sound barrier. 5v4, EdgarTheRuiner has to come up huge, but Wantom turns around and strikes him down!
Yeah, just not able to get enough off of the OC or the beat. And now they try and fight back in. Rene's noticed that power's down low and is trying to beam him down. Eventually does get that kill on 100 charge. It's going to be difficult.
Moved off the map! You're a Lucio! How did you do that?
We're still here. We're still fighting. Rene trying to be the bastion on the point. Just about able to keep them in this. Geo goes down to Finn as well, and they have been able to find the fight win that they needed. Now a second is going to have to be the case, but with Eloy and power at ultimate, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, but Finn's going to pop an early Kitsune Rush, meaning that Power might just be locked in a cage of his own creation. They break it so quickly as well. Essentially ineffectual. EdgarTheRuiner, however, taken down by Wantom. LRI is here with the overclock. 20 seconds left for the Oxford clock. That's going to be a big concern for them. They have to back out immediately. They use the grab. They use it late. Are they going to get value with it? I think they just about will.
They need someone to go forwards, but they've lost Rene and Sergeant Squat. Geo doing the most to clean it up. 2 seconds left. Can Mudkip get there? Is it going to be the end of Oxford? Just about. They're able to survive, but not for long. Surely this is it. An ICL. They've seen themselves be falling at the wayside just about so many times, but now they rise to take the crown. Unfortunate for Oxford, they see themselves the bridesmaids once more, but surely the brides of ICL are going to be taking to the stand. The vows surely will be heard for a while to come as they prove themselves to be the best in college, university esports in the UK. Finally, they find that top step of the podium.
I'll be so for real. Oxford are still in the cuck chair, and it's truly tragic. Like, they're still there. It's been like 4 years they've been stuck in this chair. And again, they should have been the team to beat Imperial, but Imperial came out swinging on all cylinders right now. They were willing to play the meta, they were willing to play it to an absolutely fantastically high level, and they got a well-deserved victory over a very strong team, 4-1 at the end of the day. I think some of these maps were closer than kind of we get credit for there, but like it's still very dominant from Imperial, and they absolutely deserve this victory.
It's 4 maps in a row, and 4 maps where Vendetta was available to them, and surely you can see the strength of that character, Blizzard, please nerf, but at the end of the day, they're able to do a lot to get in and have the favor. But we're going to go to a quick break, and we will have ICL for those bride vows in just a second. 4-1 to them. They're able to see it over the line. We'll be right back with your interviews in just a moment. Welcome back with us, where we've just seen ICL take out Division 1's Grand Finals, and they are your champions, and we are joined by all of them. So I guess first question to all of you guys, how are you feeling about being USS Spring Champions for 2026?
Fucking fantastic.
Wonderful. Excellent. Very pleased.
Oh, dude, it was a hell of a fucking series as well. Like, I mean, obviously 4-1 is like a score, but like, you know, every map was
so close. Like, I think we went to like last fight on basically nearly every map. Like, it's so tense. Like, I can't imagine going 7 and having to play like another 2 maps of like that.
Yeah,
level.
dude. But by the end of that, I think we're getting tired. So I think if we didn't win that map 5, it probably would have been a.
But it might have been like map 7 banger.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was a banger regardless. Even though we got it done in 5, it was still a very well done performance. The first question that I had is obviously Oxford. They are a fantastic team. I don't think anything is taking away from that. In terms of specific preparation for them, was there any kind of extra research done onto what they play, about their style, or things that you would do to counter that? Or was it about just refining your own style, essentially mostly with the Malga Vendetta, and just perfecting that until Oxford couldn't really do anything to counter it?
I can take this. Yeah, I mean, I think they didn't actually play anything that we didn't expect at all. I mean, I'm on a team with Jack, Sergeant Squirt, and also I've got a team with Big Bog and Finn. So like, I know what they will play. I know Rene likes the Orisa, and it's like pretty decent versus our comp. There was like a bunch of like flex CPS switches and stuff they had, but they're all heroes that like we knew they were gonna play. So we like kind of just thought we'll just play our comp and.
So it wasn't so much as you adapted to them. It was more so you just found your own style and just perfected that over time.
Yeah, I think our comp versus like their comp, we thought it was like a pretty neutral matchup, but we thought we'd just like play it really well. So we'll keep with that.
There was some research and some planning.
Oh yeah,
I mean, give yourself that credit.
We planned a bit, but
we gave our
we still have some stuff in the pocket that I won't say here, but
there is still a LAN.
Yeah.
I think the thing is like with Oxford and ICL, like we play each other a bunch of times. Lots of people play each other and face it as well. Like I've known Mudkip for like a couple of years now as well. Like everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows what we play. We know what they play. Like it's just like we accept we're playing our style. They're playing theirs. We thought we'd have like a bad matchup with the Vendetta into like the Orisa comp, but we're like, you know, after map 1 we're going to firm it and we win anyway. So just got to be confident in.
Absolutely. Well, you took out everything that you had that Vendetta there for. Did you just feel so confident in that composition that you were able to burst through it, especially pulling out pretty much the same thing that you did against Strathclyde in the lower finals of putting so much pressure onto the backline? Was that a key strategy for you coming into not just the lower bracket finals, but this game as well?
I mean, I planned on like I have a few heroes that I was like had in my pocket that I thought I'd just like try and see what felt good. Obviously, have Vendetta ban on the first map and stuff. I thought the sim felt alright. We had like a few trolls, but I think it was still very close. And then yeah, I mean, I have a few more things that I can play, but the Vendetta was just working, so I just kept it.
I mean, on
Yeah,
on,
no.
on paper, the Sim's better, but like we just were.
We just not that good at it right now. Yeah.
I see how the
Yeah.
same is like a bit of a
It's
mess
like a
occasionally, but-
it's a tradition of ours that we always try out Sim for everything, and then it doesn't end
100%.
up working most of the time.
That's because Sim is a fraudulent character, and you guys should be ashamed. I don't know what to tell you. Quite the next question that I had was actually for a Civic player, Ellery. First, I mean, there's two questions. This first of all, are you a fresher by any chance?
No, I'm not.
No, because I don't think I've seen you playing or heard of you playing before. It's a crazy thing to come out. I still think Big Bog is like the best hit scan that we have in the scene. But today, and I'm not just saying this as Glaze, I promise, you were taking the fight to him, and on the Emre specifically, genuinely getting the better of him most times. Essentially, like, where the fuck have you been, is my question.
I mean, I have been here the entire time. I've definitely not been at, like, the forefront of it. I played... So, when I joined last year, at the start of my first year, I was actually Plat. I was a Plat player. And I got put on the second team, and I was just playing. And then I grinded a lot. And then in the spring term of last year, there was an opportunity where somebody didn't want to play anymore, and they ended up putting me on the first team, and we ended up coming like 4th or something in one of the tournaments, but we didn't do necessarily like particularly good. But really, I've just played a lot. I really have just a lot of hours in the game, and also just like get a lot of coaching from all of the people around here. Like, genuinely, I don't think I would be anywhere without people like Tom and like Unisco and Chief and like all of these people who've helped me.
Shout out Unisco specifically. No one else, just Unisco.
No, I mean,
like,
I do gotta say, like, compared to like the beginning of this year, probably like the most improved award, if that is an award, it definitely goes to Elliot. Like between last year and now winning, you've like seriously improved like so much. You've really proven yourself.
Thank you very much. I mean, specifically about the Emre, because that is something that you mentioned. I've been saying that, like, I think I'm very good at the character because I managed to put like a lot of time in on the character very early. Like, even when he released him before he was good, I was already playing him quite a lot. I played him a lot in Face It as well, and I feel like I just have that edge of experience on that specific character when he's really good. Over some of the other hit scans who probably are better than me on paper, but I think I just have that experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say it's a bit of a breakout performance. So, hey, future seasons, you got a very strong hit scan in your back pocket. Might as well take it, right? Could lead to some more titles.
Yeah, absolutely.
so.
And I think that looks forward for me for this final question as well. Obviously, with your win today, that marks 2 divisions that go towards ICL, with the Imperial Spitfire having won, I believe it was Division 3 on Saturday. So you guys obviously got a fair few players, maybe up and coming, maybe you lose a couple, but you guys seem like you've got some longevity in you. So do you guys reckon you've got some build for the future with this team and potentially some up and coming recruits coming in as well?
Yeah, I mean, I know for at least 2 of us, it's our last year before we graduate. So one thing, definitely very, very happy that we managed to pull out a win before I leave. Like, seriously. But you know, also having seen our team too, I've got my protege. There's a legacy.
No, we definitely have some like really good players on our team too. Like that kind of made like really, really big improvements recently. So I hope that can like continue, and we can get. I think Imperial can be like really, really good like next year as well. We've got like Powers like a fresher, so I think he's only gonna get better. And he's only improving. I don't know how long Carl's left here, but Carl's gonna be around forever, I think.
Well, 1.5 year.
Well, 1.5 year, that's enough. But yeah, we've got lots of people coming up as well, so it's really good.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. ICL building for the next dynasty of university esports. But for now, we're going to let you guys go off and celebrate your win. Congratulations to all of you for winning out the grand finals, coming in here as the lower bracket team and knocking off the Oxford Omnics. Congratulations to ICL, and to give you guys your full name, Winston, is found by a police helicopter. Love the Winter Chronicles.
You sound like a
Thank
fucking newscaster saying that, like with the suit and the tie. Breaking news, guys. Winston was just found by a police helicopter.
Breaking news,
next,
guys.
I think next time we have to bring an end to the Winston Chronicles.
No!
We've got to have one run-on sentence for both of our teams in summer, and then that might have to cap it out. I don't think it would look the same.
Branching storylines.
Winston locked in a maximum security facility to spend out the rest of his days, or some shit.
If only with
Anyway,
that many
congratulations. We'll let you guys
Thank you
go
very
now.
much.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Well, with that said, I think this is going to be the last you guys are going to see of us as well. It's been a pleasure to bring you through this Division 1 Grand Finals, and once again, congratulations to ICL. But it's going to be a goodbye from me and Edgar. Edgar, anything you want to say before we hand over to the desk for a final time?
I mean, of all the matches to basically not do any of the regular season and then nepo my way into the grand finals because I'm old, like, I'll take this one because it was fantastic play. Obviously, commiserations to Oxford. They really did have moments of brilliance. Of course they do, but the second place curse still going to elude them for quite a long time. Maybe this summer will be their time. Or maybe.
Yeah,
we'll have
absolutely. I'm looking forward to the summer as well for seeing how they do. But for now, we're going to say goodbye and hand back over to Skyknight and the rest of the desk. And we should see you fairly soon for the summer, but keep an eye on this space.
Thank you, Avalanche and Edgar. It was a joy to watch, joy to listen to your voices for the past couple of hours over this great game. 4-1 to Imperial College London. And I just want to break down your thoughts on the whole series. I'll start with you, Bakey Boy. Where do you think it just fell apart for Oxford?
I have had my eye on the draft this entire game. I think Oxford's draft, I don't know what was going on, but I think it was quite possibly what lost them this series. I was honestly, I was gobsmacked. Map 1 out the gates with a Vendetta ban. You know ICL is a Vendetta team. Yeah, I get that you maybe want to get the map lead at the start, but instead I think you endure it for a little bit, try and maybe figure out how to play against the Vendetta, and when you've got a little bit of momentum going, it's a more crucial moment, that's when you hit them with the Vendetta ban. But instead, they just come out the gates, throw it out there, and then for the rest of the series, Vendetta is open. And what does Tom do? Play Vendetta every map.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't actually. The only map that Oxford won is when they banned Vendetta, and it was like map 1, where it was quite a ropey one as well. To be honest, it was 2-1 on Busan, so it was not a comfortable win by any stretch of the imagination. Do you kind of share the same sentiment, James Q, or do you think there's maybe another reason why Oxford?
I think I do just agree. I think it's. I mean, me and Jake were have been basically texting this whole time about it. I think the draft. I'm sorry, it was just horrible. It was terrible from Oxford. Like, you ban their best character first. Basically, your best ban goes out first. And there's other ways you can deal with that. You can choose. You have first map pick. Take that advantage. Choose a map where the Vendetta's not that strong, like an Idios maybe, where you could get away with a Tracer or something. But I think instead they just ban that Vendetta first, and it just sort of falls apart from there because they use that Malga ban, that Diva ban. They don't use the Lucio ban we talked of, which, on King's Row I think I saw they were opting to play a Zen, opting to play a Wu Yang, and they just didn't ban the Lucio for some reason. And I think it's just those sort of decisions just sort of lose you a series.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, like you said, the deviation from the Lucio carry that was so prevalent throughout the entire time, and it felt like Mudkip on that final point on the Zen was kind of like a bit of like a beacon in the dark for Oxford. It felt like. Do you think that was like the only reason they kind of put a kind of last stand on King's Row at the end on ICL's attack, or was it the Lucio carry that was the problem?
I liked, because I was saying at the start of this, I was saying on desk, I was going, Oxford, very flexible team, they could play a lot more, but instead they decide to they try and force Orisa for 4 maps, and it just doesn't work. So I like the whole comp switch up. I mean, when you do have your backs to the wall, you've just got to throw everything out there. Try with a little Hail Mary. Will it work? We don't know, but it's worth a try. And they did, and the holds ended up being all right, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it came close, but before we finish up, I just want to ask about the map choices for you, James Stewart. Felt like their map choices for Oxford were a little bit rogue, to put it to put it bluntly. a little bit weird. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, I have already mentioned that Busan choice. I think maybe you could argue Ilios is the best pick there, you know, into that Vendetta. You don't have to use that ban. Obviously, we do also see... I don't really have too much to say about. I think Runa is a horrible pick. You've banned that Malga. I mean, maybe you're scared of the Diva on Esperanza, but you have just banned that Malga. You know they're going to play Malga on the Malga map. And then also King's Row, I feel again... You know, it is just a really good Malga Vendetta map, and you know they're going to play that. And it's just sort of, yeah, maybe it's just you feel more comfortable on those maps, so you want to play your comfort maps. But I feel, you know, you maybe in that situation you want to go something a bit more out there, you know, that Hollywood. Just, you know, play something which they may not be experienced on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just... There are other ways to pressure the Vendetta, to pressure the Amalga, without inherently just banning one of the characters. There are ways for you to get around it, and yeah, I feel like Oxford just didn't utilize that to the most, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming in as from the winners bracket, you really gotta use the maps and ban advantage that you have by being the upper bracket team, because you get the first ban, you get the first map pick as well, particularly on that first map, to just try keep things going in your direction. But Oxford, unfortunately, not able to do that. Coming in second place, it feels like again and again and again, so many times. It feels like they get so close and they just get denied at the gates. But it was a close game overall, but not much you can really do in the end. Maybe they'll be able to redeem themselves in other upcoming finals, or maybe in the next season, but for now, Imperial College are firmly on top of USS right now. But we will get a quick look at the credits, who's been bringing you this stream. Producers, we had Loao and Lagaleth. Casting, we had Avalanche and Edgar. Observing, we had KPG and Bert, and KPG as well was the lobby admin. Desk host, of course, was myself. And joining me on the desk tonight was Bakey Boy and James Skewer. So big crew today for a big game. But do you guys have any final words, any final thoughts, anything you want to say before we wrap up for tonight?
Probably just a absolutely massive shout out to all the USS desk, everyone who's worked on USS. This has definitely been my favorite tournament. So very big thank you for everyone running this, and thank you for having me and James on.
I probably suggest saying, like, obviously congratulations to Imperial on this, and, you know, big thanks to everyone at USS. Like, doing all of this for free, just, it's incredible. And, like, genuinely, it's, you know, I can't imagine sort of being in something like, you know, this type of production, sort of this level. It's just insane, and everything that, you know, everyone behind the scenes is doing.
Yeah, well, we'll keep getting bigger and better, and it will continue into the summer. We added listenings and a couple of little replays when available this season, so we'll have to see what we can cook up for the summer split. But keep your eyes peeled. We may have information coming out about that at some point, or maybe something to Gab. I don't know. I'm not really privy to this kind of comment. I'm just the desk host. I don't know anything. But keep your eyes on this space. Like Avalanche said, we'll have information coming to you at some point. But for now, for spring, it is goodbye from us at USS.